What's up, dude?
What's up?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. Fucking cool day off.
Yeah, man. I want to get to all your pro wrestling stuff because I went that last Thursday.
Yeah.
And that was funny as shit. Like in a good way to watch. Like it was so fun to watch.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I worked for that promotion for over a year, and that's the first time I won. Isn't that some shit? I've been putting them on for over a fucking year, and like this is the first time they showed me some like thank yous.
That's hilarious. Yeah, and then you would ask beforehand like how much all this. Cause you ran a podcast back in the day.
Yeah,
what was it called?
Society of Scum.
Society of Scum. All right.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Legion of Skanks.
I was gonna say that's real close to Legion of Skanks.
Yeah, but I used to have Scum tattooed right here actually, and so that's why I had it in the name. But then I had it covered up because I became a parent and whatnot.
Damn, dude, you got kids?
Yeah, one kid.
And you're flopping around on a damn ring on a Thursday night?
Hell yeah, about to get the shit smacked out of me on the third too. It's crazy.
That's funny. Yeah, because you were saying before we started that you would put like a couple $100 into doing your podcast, and that's where I was too for a little bit. And I was like, no, I really want to I want to do this. And the stimulus checks were coming in, had some homies help me out, had some money from when I came back from a deployment. So I was like, fuck it, let's see what it's gonna do. And I hit up my buddy who's like really good at like tech, and he like makes his own music, and he does like coding for a living and all that type of shit. And so long story short, the cameras were at the time, you can get them a little bit cheaper now because they're older models. At the time, the cameras were $800 each. The audio mixer I got it on eBay for $100. I think it retails at $200, but I got it for $100 on eBay. You can buy because they have these like really cool ones now. I don't know how well they work, but they have cooler ones of these now where, so like under the desk, stapled to the desk are these, what the fuck are they called? They're called not power condensers. They're preamps. They're called preamps. Basically, because so much power comes out of the back of this thing that this basically like holds all the power in and then gives the necessary amount to the audio mixer so it doesn't like blow out. Like the audio gets all fuzzy and staticky and shit.
Yeah.
So those come as a combo pack. So one mic and one preamp was like $550, and then the little Shure mic over there was like $250, and I've got another one of those in the closet somewhere. It ain't cheap. And
no, it's insane.
And that little fucker right there, okay, this looks fancy. You could do a lot of things with it, I'm sure. I just haven't learned how to use it properly.
Yeah.
The only thing I use that for, that's how I live stream. Like, that's what switches the cameras. $300 to switch a camera.
It's worth it.
I don't know, man.
It's worth it.
That should be a plug, like a free downloadable plug-in for your computer. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And then all the other tech I have for like half podcast and half gaming and shit. So there's a couple thousand in here.
No, you're doing well.
I'm not going to say where I live, but you know.
Yeah, no, I
This is back when I had money. So.
I used to have like one of those 2011 Apple computers, really old.
Yeah.
And then I used to make music back in the day. So one of my tech buddies somehow, some way got Ableton onto that computer for free.
Oh, shit.
And so I just bought two $80 Yeti microphones, plugged it into the computer, and then that was like the podcast.
No, that's the right... Okay, personally, I think that's the right way to do it. Because people have asked me, like, should I start a podcast? I'm not the person to decide whether or not you should be speaking to a microphone, but I'm like, don't dump a ton of money into it. Because I think, like, this was back in, like, 2022, I think. But, like, it was over 3 million podcasts were registered, but 78% of them didn't make it past episode 7. So don't dump a ton of money into it if you're not going to do it for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And those Yeti mics are perfect. And most people have a computer or have a laptop, a desktop. Just plug that bitch in. Use Audacity or GarageBand or whatever free application you can get. Record it. Put it on YouTube. Improvised Intelligence is sponsored by the amazing people over at Chop Chili. If you've been a long time listener to the podcast, you know that this is my favorite brand of chili here in New Mexico. Pretty much put it on every meal that I can. They've got red chili, green chili. My personal favorite is this blend of the red and the green. I think this stuff is phenomenal. They also have frozen bags of green chili that you can order directly from their website at chopchilico.com. You can also find them in stores around the state of New Mexico at Sprouts, Albertsons, Farmers Country Market, John Brooks, Keller's Farm Store, Lowe's Market. You can also find them in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Hobbs, Gallup, Tucumcari, and for all my friends in Texas, they are in El Paso. Again, chopchilico.com. Go get yourself some amazing chili. Now back to the podcast. Have some dork on Fiverr make you a little logo. You'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. My podcast came to like a sad end, though. No, for real. I got about 5 episodes deep, and then me and my 2 ghetto fucking sisters from New Jersey, I didn't grow up with them, but I know them pretty well, like via social media, I guess you could say. But we all decided that we would move to Florida out of nowhere, right? So I packed 1 suitcase with my belongings and then another suitcase full of all my podcast shit that I had acquired. And so we go to Florida. My ghettoist sister had a man out there that was waiting for her. They got into an argument. Keep in mind, I had my podcast shit in like a storage container over there, right? But it was, I think we didn't have a place to stay yet, so we were just doing it Airbnb. But we put all that shit there until we found an apartment. Her and her man got into a fucking argument, right? And then he started threatening that he was gonna like kill my sister and shit. And so I immediately went into like, all right, hey, so I've never had someone do that before, so we're gonna have to fucking fight type shit. I said it just like that, super nice. I'm such a nice guy.
I think the social contract that you just broke,
I said,
says we have to fisticuffs now.
I said, buddy, I'm not from Florida. Listen, I don't know how you guys do it out here, but that was like pretty insane. And so if we could just step outside like for a second, we're not friends or anything like that. You know, I said that. And so like the guy goes inside of his house, grabs a fucking gun, comes back outside, and I was like, I understand. And I kind of just grabbed all my shit and moved back to Albuquerque. I left the fucking podcast equipment, never restarted. I never got back up.
So, okay, you won. Sorry.
Yeah.
The great equalizer.
100%. I brought Fist to a gunfight.
Jesus Christ. When was the last time you spoke to those people?
It was then. That sister, it was then, to be honest with you. But like the other sister I speak to all the time.
Well, hopefully she's doing okay.
Yeah.
Down in Florida?
No.
That's probably good.
Back home, like as if nothing ever happened. The only thing that we lost out on was my fucking podcast equipment.
And a sister, apparently. Jesus Christ.
I didn't grow up with it.
Holy fuck, dude. That's insane. So why did you pick Florida?
We all wanted to just switch shit up. You know, like if you're young and dumb and you're like, all right, now's the time to fuck up, like might as well go big, right? So we had all never been to Florida. So how
old were you at the time?
I was like 21.
Okay, you were young.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
27.
Okay, yeah. Times have changed. That's good.
Oh yeah.
A lot more relatively safer.
I came the fuck up.
Yeah.
Since then. Are you kidding me? I was a bum. Dude, back then I sucked. Not gonna lie.
It's getting into a lot of trouble, a lot of mayhem.
Yeah. All the time, dude. I had a pretty intense life growing up, especially here in Albuquerque and shit, but I had a lot of freedom growing up, you know? I didn't really have, like, parents over me watching everything I did, so I was always involved in some crazy shit going on, you know?
You have to do time or what?
No, but I'm banned from every prison in New Mexico.
From a Chuck E. Cheese?
No, I'm banned from every prison in New Mexico. That's a true story. That's actually true. Christ. And I can't go into why. But
that's fair. No,
I'll tell you off air.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't ask you to. But that's insane. Well, it seems like your life is going a little bit better now.
Yeah.
It seems like doing 5 minutes at the block every other Tuesday ain't too bad for you. So that's good.
Yeah, I honestly, it scares me more to do comedy than it does getting smacked in the fucking face in a crowd full of people. Can you believe that?
Yes, because I feel the exact opposite. I would much rather bomb than do that crazy shit. Because what was funny is we were setting up the podcast, or I was setting it up for AJ and Fred to do that day, actually, the Thursday of last week.
Yeah.
And Fred I'm still very open to the conversation, and I'm open to most things. I'm just curious more than anything else. But he's like, yeah, I love because A's already involved. I'd love to get you involved somehow. And you have a big personality. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, totally. And then my little repaired hernia in my stomach is like, you're not getting in that fucking ring. There is no way you're getting thrown around and smacked. And because I saw some of the hits you guys were taking, and like watching the local pro wrestling, it really like put things into perspective. For like, because my only exposure to it, of course, is like WWE. You know what I mean? And it's like those guys go through hell on itself, but like you guys are doing it for like the love of the game. Like that's incredible, like genuinely in the best way possible. That is incredible to me. And then you were to the second match that night, and you had to fight 3 dudes, just one after the other, and you were taking fucking hits, dude.
Yeah, as I should. That's exactly what I signed up for.
And you play a villain really well.
Thank you.
You play, because I'm used to you having the facial hair. And normally the facial hair is what makes a guy a villain, you know, and the baby face is clean shaven and whatever. But dude, you without facial hair, you're kind of an asshole, dude.
It's just,
you look like a dick.
It's so fun because that's genuinely the guy I was in sports, like growing up. Not that mean necessarily, you know, but just talking shit. I love talking shit. I can actually tell you last year at the state fair, at the 2024 state fair, that was when it really became a thing that I was a bad guy, because I tried being a good guy. And there's just certain things you do as a wrestler to try and get the crowd on your side as a good guy, but it's so fucking hard. It's so much easier to be a bad guy. I literally was going out there trying to get people to clap with me, trying to get like the energy up, and they weren't doing it. And I remember specifically one time I got the guy in the corner and I wanted to do that one spot. I was so excited for it where everyone counts, you know, 1, 2. And so I fucking get up there and I'm all, let's go Albuquerque, 1, 2, 3, and I get to fucking 7, and these motherfuckers weren't counting, and it legitimately pissed me off. And I was like, all right, like whatever. And so fucking ever since then, I was like, let me be a bad guy, dude. Fuck these guys. And so I went out there, started talking shit, and it was the crowd was more into that than some guy trying to be friendly. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy.
Well, it's hard to be friendly when you're punching somebody in the face. Because it was the guy that you were hitting a note like the bad guy of the.
It was my coach. It was my coach. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's something the good guy does. I don't think Batman beats the shit out of Alfred. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't know that. They don't know that. You know, like he's been wrestling for over 20 years, and so like pretty much the way it works in wrestling, you show up to a promotion and they tell you whether you're a bad guy or a good guy or whatever. So state fair, no one gives a shit. We're just making the matches as we go and stuff. So he just happened to be the bad guy that match. But being a good guy is harder than being a bad guy, and that's how you know if you're a good wrestler. If you can be a good guy and get the crowd on your side, that's like a motherfucker that stands out right there.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, not in that way. I don't get that. I'm not in that world. But like the main reason I killed, because did you start hanging around stand up when I still had a full beard?
I don't think so.
Like a big, I used to have a big beard up until, I mean, I had a mustache in the beginning, like a little bit, but I had a really big beard up until about like February of this year, February or March. And then I was just like, I do okay. Like I've had some pretty decent-ish sets, but like there's not a lot of stand-up comics that have a big beard. I don't think there's, like Kyle Kinane has a full beard. Josh Wolf has some facial hair, but most of these guys are either clean-shaven or have a mustache. I'm never doing clean-shaven again. My girlfriend would just get mad at me, and I'm just not attractive clean shaven. That just doesn't work. So I was like, I'm going to try the mustache. See what happens. I've bombed, certainly, since then, but my hit radius has just gotten so much better.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more likable. I'm a lot more expressive. People pay attention. I don't look like some fucking mountain man terrorist talking about like pedophiles and whatever. But yeah, it's the way you present yourself on stage and the way you're able to connect has a lot of little things that are just strange. How do you? I'm sure you're still creating it, but like, how do you create? How long have you been pro wrestling for?
In ring, a little over a year.
Okay. So what goes in for you for creating the character of Johnny Magna? Like, what is that character?
That's a good question. So when I first started, before I had my first match or anything like that, we were just trying to figure out what a guy like me could do. And what I wanted clearly more than anything was not to be your typical big guy. You know, in wrestling, if you're a big guy, that usually means you're fucking stupid, slow, and like you do simple moves and all that. And I'm like, that's crazy because I can do like backflips and fucking just all types of crazy shit I shouldn't be able to do. Right. So I was like, I want to be a surfer, right? Because surfers, it was cool. Surfers can, they look high all the time. I'm fucking high all the time, dude. I was thinking about taking a boogie board that I could always come out with and fucking just like smashing it over somebody's fucking head with or something like that. And so that's where the name came from. I was like, all right, so if I'm going to be a surfer, let me come up with like a skater name, something you would see in a skate magazine. So I had came up with Johnny Magna at first, and I was like, that's a sick fucking name. So as time went on, I was 275 at the time, super fucking big boy overweight. So that whole thing of like being a surfer was kind of out the window because they were like, oh, surfers don't look like that, you know?
Right, yeah.
And so...
how tall are you?
6'4".
Jesus Christ.
6'4". I was 275, big fucking fat kid. But then now I'm like 235.
Okay.
And so I ended up going to Amarillo, Texas at a low promotion there. And they were like, all right, kid, like we're just going to go from this like scratch. Just go out in black fucking shorts, your wrestling boots. And he fucked up my name. He said, and you're Johnny Magna, you know? And so I was like, all right, cool. And so I went out there, and that was the very, very, very first time I ever went out. This was a 21 up promotion. There were no kids. So they told me, you can say whatever you want. And I was like, I can say whatever I want. They're like, whatever. Like, we told everyone when they bought tickets, it's 21 plus. Like, there's no rules here. All right. I fucking walk out. The first thing I see is kids. I fucking walk straight up to them. Fuck you, you little fucking bastard. Like, fuck all you guys. Going around just laying into everyone. It was such a hit. It was my first match that was great. The crowd was into it. I beat the guy up, and I was on top because I was a big guy. So I had a lot of time to sit there and talk shit. And by the end of it, I go back, and everyone was literally sitting there like, that was fucking awesome, dude.
Nice. And
I was like, sweet. Like, this is what I'm doing from now on. I'm going to be a bad guy. I'm Johnny Magna, and that's just how it started. And now I still don't even know what the fuck. He's just an asshole, dude. That's...
Well, because I was talking about this with Fred, and I've thought about it myself. Like, pro wrestlers are like... I think they're the closest thing, like, in personality-wise, in real life that we have to, like, a comic book character. You know what I mean? Like, my theory is, like, the reason why people in America, like the West specifically, love characters like Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, Wonder Woman, all that. Like, it's fun to watch, like, the spider or the bat part of that equation, but people stay around for the man part of it. Like, why does Bruce Wayne do what he do? Why does Peter, what are their motivations of Peter Parker? Like, why do they keep doing what they're doing? And the same thing for, like, the villains. That's what makes a villain really, how do I put it? Compelling.
Yeah.
It makes it really compelling. It's like, you know you're going to get your ass kicked. Like, you've been thrown back into Arkham Asylum the last 20 times. Like, you're not going to win. And no matter how big the stakes get or whatever, but it's like, what are their motivations? What are their whatever? So have you put thought into, like, what the backstory is of your character, what the lore? Because I would imagine, because I'd imagine there are so many, like, local pro wrestlers that are looking to the top, trying to find a way to break out, trying to find a way to be different, aside from the social media side of it, right? Have you put thought into how you separate your character from the pack? Because you can have 10 villains in one night, but it's like, which one do you actually enjoy watching? And that's what I thought was interesting about, like, in the little breaks where AJ would walk around and talk to the audience, the only person that they were talking about was you, and then, like, maybe the chick with the wings.
Fallen Gray.
Fallen Gray, right. Maybe her. But they were really just talking about how much they fucking hated you. So you're already standing out. But, like, what do you do with the backstory of your character to try to, like, separate that character from the pack?
So, really what it is, I don't know if I would say it's, like, the story of my character, but it's definitely, like, imagine Deadpool a little bit mentally, right? So I didn't want to be the big guy that was like big and scary and tough and didn't talk much and all that stuff. So I'm the complete opposite. I talk to people. That's literally the difference between me and other wrestlers. If you watch anyone, literally anyone, any show, any promotion, locally around the world, whatever, a lot of wrestlers will plan their match, first of all. Like, I can go in there and not plan a match and literally call everything out there in the ring with my partner if he knows how to do that too, you know, which gives us a lot of freedom. But if you watch other wrestlers, they'll have their matches planned. They'll have all their little spots planned, and then they go out there and they spend their time wrestling each other, and they'll have little moments for the crowd. They'll like generally vaguely like look around to no one, just at the crowd, and do a little yeah, and then go back to their wrestling match. What sets me apart is from the second I walk out of that curtain, I'll find the closest person to me that's making eye contact and say something about them and their family and like every single individual person who's paying attention to me that's right here, I'm going to give them something that 2 hours from now when they're driving home, they were like, did you see that guy come up? Yeah, I saw that. That guy said this, and that, right? That's what separates me from everyone else. Everyone has those little moments, you know? And it's even reverse psychology where it's like the crowd wants to be heard too, right? So sometimes you'll have some smartass in the crowd that wants to feel good and have his little moment of trying to put me down or something, and I'll give it to him. You know, that's the great thing about all these stories and stuff like that. Everyone loves seeing the Home Alone, for example. Everyone loves seeing the big bad guy slip up and fall, you know? And so I'll give the crowd those moments. Like there was a kid who had brought a flag to one show, like a little Mexican flag or something like that. And so I took the flag out of his hand and I pretended like I was going to hit the other dude with it. But when I put it back, I put it right in reach where he could snatch it back out of my hand. And so, of course, the kid did. He snatches the shit out of my hand. I turn around like as if I'm going to be like, hey, kid, fuck you. And then this guy starts beating me up. And now he's like, oh, yeah, no, fuck you. Fuck you. And so that's, I can give those moments. I can take those moments. And that's what separates me from other people. I'm interacting with the crowd that's going to end up wanting to see you on TV.
Yeah, it's smart. You need to be filming all your matches, dude. Because something like that, you put that on social media, people are going to love that, especially right now.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to love seeing, and that's just a well choreographed. If you told me that was planned, like that kid was a plant, I'd believe you. I'm just imagining that in my head. That's a good fucking moment. Okay, so you mentioned, this is something I was going to ask you a little bit later, but this is a good point. I've heard that term, like calling the match in the ring with your partner. So before you can even get comfortable doing that, do you know who you're going up against far enough in advance where you can like look them up, watch them, see how they act in ring? Do you know any of that going into it? Or do you just show up and you're like, hey, you're going up against, you know, whoever the whatever?
Yeah, you show up and they tell you, hey, you're going up against that guy.
Okay.
When you get there. And then you, if you guys both know what you're doing, wrestling, imagine it as if you went to college, right? And you chose a subject, your subject was wrestling. Now they're going to give you this textbook with all of the moves we have in it. And like, let's call it wrestling theory of how a match is supposed to work, right? Once you learn that general thing, you can go off and meet anybody in the world. And within 5 minutes say, hey, bud, we have a match tonight. What's your finisher? All right, I think you're going to win tonight. So let's just call it in the ring. And then when it's time for your finisher, we'll do your finisher.
Interesting. So there's a general baseline that everyone has to go off of.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I'm sure that mitigates injury much, along with other things. So you're actually in the ring, you're performing. What does calling the match look like? Because you can't, obviously you're not just standing there having a conversation? Is it like hand gestures? Is it keywords? Like, how do you call a match, quote unquote?
Just little moments. Like we know where we want to go, right? Like, for example, let's say me and you were in a wrestling match, right? Who do you want to win?
You.
All right. So at the end of this match, we know that I'm going to win. That's a fact, right? We know that I'm going to hit my finisher on you at some point in time throughout this match, right? So that's the ending. We don't even have to talk about that. It's going to look like I'm going to go out there and I'm going to either beat you up a little bit or you're going to beat me up a little bit. And then we're going to switch and then we're going to switch again. And then we just keep doing that until the end, you know? And so, but that's the difference, is that the guys who plan their matches, they'll be like, all right, cool. And they'll go out there and they'll, it's like, what's that card game? Like Magic the Gathering. It's like they're playing a card game where it's like, all right, this is my move. And then the guy's like, all right, cool, this is my move. Compared to someone like me who can fucking, if we're calling the match, right? Let's say in my entrance, I saw this family of 5 over here that I was really talking shit on. And out of everybody, they really stood up and dug into me, right? I'll give this guy, we'll lock up. And when we lock up, I'll tell him, hey, take me out to that family of 5. And he'll be like, all right. And so he won't tell me what he'll do, but I know he's going to do something to get me out to that family of 5. So it could be a punch. I just follow along. He throws me over the top rope. I just follow along, you know, and we get out there. And then eventually when we get out there, you know, he walks up to me, one punch to the stomach. He knows that's me saying, hey, let me take over. I punch him in the stomach, grab him. Now I'm in front of this family of 5. And I got this guy right here. And I'm like, oh, this is your hero. I beat him up in front of that family of 5. And then, when it's his turn to shine, we'll get back in the ring. He'll tell me what he's going to do, you know, like, these guys really don't like how you called them stupid or something. So let me put you in the corner and I'm going to defend the crowd and be like, you're stupid. You know, like it's anything could happen. Literally anything could happen. I was at work one time. I used to work at Walmart at 2:00 in the morning, and AJ texts me, hey, I'm going to your next show in Rio Rancho. Can we do something? Yeah. I'm like, pull your shirt up and I'll bite your fucking titty. And that's how that, do you remember that? Yeah. That's how that happened.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's literally how that happened. Someone tells me what they want to do. I'll find out a way to eventually put that in the match. It's as simple as that.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. And then when you're actually in the ring, how are you, I know a lot of this is in the actual training itself, but when you're falling, so what I'm curious specifically, because I just remember growing up and being into pro wrestling, and everyone being like, wrestling's fake. Why do you like that? It's blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, maybe they're not actually just like duking it out, like beating the shit out of each other. But like, I'm watching these guys like fall a few feet out of the air. And then obviously like the bigger matches where like, what's his name? Shane McMahon gets thrown off the top of a cage or whatever. Like, I'm watching these dudes like fall 20 feet. I'm watching blood come out of their scalp. Like this is... I don't know how much you could fake some of this. Like, what the fuck is going on? So when you're in the ring, let's say your buddy suplexes you, or you're jumping off the rope, whatever it is, and you have to, let's say you're falling on your back. How are you training to fall on your back to minimize injury? Because you're going to take damage, obviously.
Yeah.
How are you minimizing injury?
So whoever that is that's taking that spot on their back is 100% in control of that spot, right? So, for example, do you remember when Undertaker threw Mick Foley off of the top of the cage, right? So it looked like Undertaker had his pant and his shirt and drug him out, right? But really, he could have had his hands wide open and placed him on his back, and Mick was in charge of that run and that fall, you know? And so if I know we're getting to a big spot like that, we'll work together to get to that spot. And then I'll eventually like tell this guy like, all right, I'm going for that big bump now or whatever. And so he'll be more of like a guide. That's what he's grabbing me for and stuff like that, you know? And so half the time when you see guys do crazy shit like that, they're doing it to themselves. The other guy's not really doing it to them.
Right, but I guess what I'm asking is like when you're actually falling, are you doing any like subtle movements with your arms, with your head?
Oh, yeah.
You know, because yes, I understand the fact that like, I understand that where in that specific example of like Mick Foley, like, yeah, Mick Foley's positioning himself. Totally get that. but you're still falling. You know what I mean? Like, so what are you doing to like actually fall on your back and you're protecting yourself?
So for months in training, you train your back to like absorb, spreading your arms out like a bird, and then making contact with all of your arm, all of your back, and if you can, some of your legs, preferably below the bottom of your legs, you know, all at the same time. And then so it disperses out all of your weight. And plus, when you land on the mat, the wood has a little bit of give, you know? And so whenever you land like that, if you're not trained to do that, it fucking hurts really bad. But if you train for months, you could take that shit over and over and over and over again.
How long did it take for you to get comfortable falling in general?
Like 2 months.
Of just landing on your back.
Landing on my back, dude. I got a concussion really fucking bad after my first day.
What happened?
I seized up on the side of the road. I set up the ring with them. They had me come train. They had me do bumps, and I wasn't tucking my chin enough, or at least my neck muscles wasn't strong enough to take that whiplash yet. So I kept hitting my head on the back of the back of my head on the mat, and literally on the drive home, I fucking had a pullover. My body like seized into this position where I couldn't move, like as if I was knocked out, and I was fucking like throwing up on like outside of the car and on myself on the side of the fucking freeway. And then after like 5 to 10 minutes, my body released. I was able to like breathe and get my shit back, but I had a super bad fucking headache. Drove to a gas station, had to call my girlfriend to like drive the rest of the way home, which was about 30 minutes or something.
You didn't go to a hospital?
Fuck no, dude. Oh. Fuck no. Why would I do that?
Oh, fuck.
You never played football?
No.
You don't go to the hospital. You ask a nurse you know.
Okay, that's fair. I understand that logic, but God, dude, fuck that. I mean, I seriously give just athletes in general all the credit in the world, but pro wrestlers, dude, because you're just yeah, you can do all the training and all of the mitigation in the world, but there is just so much risk involved. I mean, how many compilation videos are there of Chris Benoit just getting his head rocked in?
Oh, I thought you were going to say of him killing his family.
Well, I'd hope none. I'd hope none. But just every shot where people are like, all right, what was the headshot that did it? Was it the bell to the head? Was it the chair to the head? Was it the ground to the head? Was it all of it? And just, I could not, oh, fuck that. But that makes sense. And then for you, what movement was the toughest one to get? Because a lot of it is form. A lot of it is muscle, like mind-muscle connection and, what's it called? Muscle memory. So what move for you was the toughest to like get your body in the routine of doing regularly?
The ropes. Hitting those ropes. Because they fucking hurt. You know, if you watch a wrestler run the ropes, it looks really fun. But again, that's because he spent months training his back to be able to eat those. If you run full speed against those ropes and lean on them, like hit them, it feels like as if someone's whipping you on your back with like what are those fucking things called that the Sandman had? You know what I'm saying? Kendo stick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It feels like you're getting hit in the back with a kendo stick. So you have to like be able to fucking take that first of all, and then on top of that, do it correctly. Which is the correct way to do it is by throwing your whole fucking body into it so that it can bounce you off, right? So it hurts. You have to learn how to do it correctly, and then on top of that, you have to do it a lot of times because you can't hit the rope fucking once, right? You got to go bop 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 bop. So every time it fucking hurts, dude.
How long did it take for you not only learn that, but how often did you trip over your own feet? Because there's a guy, I'm forgetting his name, and if you're listening, I'm sorry. But there was a guy that was there with us helping us set up and break down the podcast, and he was showing AJ how to run the ropes. And I was like, man, like, it's like 1, 2, 3, turn, 1, 2, 3, all that kind of thing. It's like, man, I would eat shit doing. I'm a well-coordinated guy, but I would eat shit doing that.
Luckily for me, I'm a big guy with long legs, so it's effortless for me.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like it's literally 1, 2, skip. I jump more than I run. Put it that way. Like I'm in the air flying to the next rope more than I am running across the ring. So I've never had trouble with anything like that. But there is like, I struggle with lucha shit too, because I'm a big guy and I'm not really fucking. I usually, when I'm in matches, I'm such a big guy that I'm usually on top. You know, I'm not really one to go the whole match getting my ass kicked anymore, unless you're a rookie or something. But so there's been a couple times where we've had to do moves where I have to like catch a guy and do some spinny shit or something like that, and like those I fuck up on every once in a while. If you watch that match where it's like a battle royale and then that skeleton character homie comes out, he jumps off the top rope and I was supposed to catch him in a fucking like a last ride position, like I'm gonna bomb him or some shit. And I was so sweaty and he had jumped so much that he fucking like went over just a little bit and I couldn't grab him. So afterwards, the crowd is all like, the fans and stuff, they're all like, oh, like, what was that move where the guy dragged his balls on your forehead? Like, when did you guys come up with that? And it's like, oh, I can't tell you that wasn't what it was supposed to be. So now it has to be that guy dragged his balls on my forehead, you know? I'm like, oh yeah, I was like 2 weeks in advance.
I spent 2 weeks with nuts across my forehead.
Yeah.
You're right, 17-year-old idiot. Like that was see, that's where my ego gets in the way. But no, that was a mistake. I did not practice a man's nuts getting dragged. Holy fuck.
But yeah, the grabby shit is the hard stuff to do.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think about just that night that I saw all this shit that I saw you guys doing, and because I was in the ring and I was like, this is not like it has a little bit of give, like you were saying, but I just got on my knees a little bit, just went like that. And that's what it sounded like. Just like that is. So your first couple of practices where you're just getting the shit beat out of your body. What made you keep going back? Like, this is something I'm going to keep doing until I'm good at it.
The fact that there are people who have done this for over 20 years.
That's fair.
I was like, I know for a fact that I'm not a bitch, right?
Yeah.
So this has to be like I'm just a beginner learning this shit and my body's not used to it. I was like, that's what it has to be, right? But I did have a long talk with my baby's mom, and it was like, if this shit continues to like be this way, then I can't do it. I'm not meant to do everything, but after a while, the pain does ease up and it does get a lot easier. And then obviously I lost a lot of weight too. So maybe not as much weight going into the bump and stuff like that. Stronger muscles, able to like make sure my neck doesn't torque and all that type of shit. So I'd say after 2 months, I was able to do anything very easily in terms of like bumping or running the ropes or anything like that. But yeah, that first 2 months, my back literally looked like it would be like black, yellow, purple, just all different types of shit in different areas. Like I'd have to sleep on one side one day and then sleep on my stomach the other side because I couldn't take it, you know, like whatever, certain shit.
What made you want to start in the first place?
Because it was fucking cool. Dude, we love attention. Like, I knew from a very young age that I wanted to do something where I was entertaining. I liked making people laugh, but I was scared to do comedy, so I never really delved into comedy until AJ brought me in and stuff like that. And so my way of getting attention was sports. And not only that, but I'm super competitive, so I knew I'd get extra attention if I won or if I was like the best, you know. And so being a rugby player at the time,
so you're used to taking hits.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay.
12 years of rugby before I even wrestled.
And it still beat you up.
Yeah.
Fuck.
4 years of football, some cheerleading, believe it or not.
Hey, no, male cheerleaders are strong as shit, dude.
Yeah, we also get knocked around a shit ton. A lot of elbows because we're lifting chicks up, and then when they fall or come down, they'll come down like that. So I definitely took a lot of elbows to the fucking face. But yeah, fucking. What was the question?
So like, what?
I'm high again.
No, yeah. What got you into doing it in the first place? So a lot of athleticism in your past. Attention seeking. Why do you think attention seeking is a part of what makes you you? Because this is a
Because
question.
I'm willing to work so fucking hard for it for some reason.
And I ask this because this is a question I've been asking myself a little bit lately. So yeah, why? Because a lot of people, I mean, apparently, I don't know how real this is. I think this is out of all the bullshit statistics that we have, and this is one of the biggest bullshit statistics. But apparently, public speaking is the number one fear amongst Americans. I don't know how real that is. Sounds kind of nonsense to me. But let's just assume that's real. And then you have people that are these type A personalities that not only are comfortable with being the center of attention, they seek it out actively on a regular basis. Why is that a part of your whatever equation equals you? Why do you think that's in you?
I love being brave. I'm like addicted to fucking being brave, you know? And so, like I said, at some point growing up, I knew I wanted to entertain, but I also knew that I was willing to do a lot of shit that other people weren't willing to do, you know? Like, it started off with embarrassing myself, you know, like being the class clown and shit like that or whatever. But then, just, I don't know, it's different playing a sport and being part of a team and then winning and having to earn all that type of stuff. But then just if someone comes in and says, hey, you're going to be a wrestler, you're going to have everyone watching you for 15 to 20 straight minutes. You're going to have an entrance where people are watching you. You're going to have merch tables where people are going to want to come up and give you autographs and or get your autographs and fucking like all this shit. And I will credit it. What high school did you go to?
I went to a military school
for
shit. High school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nimi?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They tried to get me to go to college there.
For football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
what year? Just out of curiosity.
2016 I graduated.
You graduated high school in 16?
Yeah.
Yeah. I graduated in 15 and then I went back there for 2 years of college as well.
Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you, dude. I mean, they have a good college football. They have a great football program. But yeah, no, just all the auxiliary stuff. Like it's funny. Cause like looking back on that place, starting as a 14-year-old, like at the time, right. As a 14-year-old, and I ended up graduating right before I turned 19, from college. I was like, I remember like my mindset at the time, like, why don't these college kids just like do what they're supposed to do? Why don't they, whatever? And then now as like an adult, I look back and I'm like, yeah, if I went from like 4 years of just being in a normal high school and then go into this environment where I have a bunch of fucking kids telling me what to do, I'm in a military, and I'm just here for football, I'd be like, fuck that shit too. I'd be like, no, it's insane.
Well, I was just a fucking loser in high school. No, really. Like, you could ask AJ. I had no personality. I was brainwashed into fucking being like an all-star athlete all the time, you know? Like, I always wanted to work harder than others and get like a pat on the back for what I was doing.
What do you mean brainwashed?
Like, I was a football player. I was really big into football in high school. I wanted to go to the league and stuff like that. So it was kind of just like, have you watched Blue Mountain State before?
I fucking love that show.
I was fucking Thad or whatever his name was. Like, I was kind of like, I'm not supposed to drink because I'm an athlete, and fucking like athletes have clean bodies, and I won't.
Yeah, okay, but he said that, but he also drank the most out of anybody.
I didn't.
And like stuck his face in the mountain of cocaine.
That's different. Now we're getting into like my territory of shit. But
that's a great show.
Yeah, no, I didn't allow myself to be the teenage kid that I should have because I was so focused on, I just didn't have a good home life, I feel like, you know?
So wait, you didn't have a good home life, but you stayed away from alcohol?
Absolutely, 100%, yeah.
That's a good thing, dude.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you anything else. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not the smartest guy around, and I don't propose to know how things might have turned out, but not drinking at a young age is a good thing. Categorically good thing.
Yeah.
Not just from like the brain development and the body's development, and there's also just getting yourself into more trouble than you would have been anyway, hanging out with the wrong, like, all that shit. I sound like an old man, but all that shit's real, dude.
No, I hear you, dude. When I was growing up at 19, 20, 21, 22, around those ages, I'd go around people they'd offer me drinks, and I'd be like, nah, I don't drink. And they'd be like, oh, recovering.
That's the most New Mexico thing, to tell a 19-year-old they're a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah. It's like, no, dude, I just never was into that type of shit.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It was for the best. That is for the best. So anyway, so you're this athlete. Yeah, why do you think it was brainwashing, per se? That's an interesting way to phrase it.
Because at the time, I didn't have a good home life. So I put a lot of myself into the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I enjoyed the brotherhood. And then this was probably like a me thing that I shouldn't have done at the time. But you're a kid, you don't know. But I put a lot of faith into my coach to like step into that father figure spot almost. And so, you know, all I wanted to ever do was impress him and get his approval and have him say nothing but good things about me. And we have a lot of fucking knuckleheads on the team. Like, obviously, there's going to be those kids that do drink and they're a pain in the fucking ass and they come to practice like late and whatever the case may be. So I wanted to be better than all those kids. And I was not allowed to think like a teenage kid ever. You know, like I was always the bigger kid. I was always athletically gifted. And so I always had coaches that would always like pound the fucking discipline into my head of like, you need to be doing the right thing. And at that time, it just so happened to be that I had to be like a star football player. So I didn't take a lot of opportunities that I could have as a teen because I was so brainwashed into fucking sports.
I think you were brainwashed in a good way, personally. Just hearing all this, I think that's a net positive, because the term smart teenager itself is like an oxymoron. You know, like, none of those exist. What do you mean smart or not even smart, responsible teenager? You know what I mean? Like, that's a bit of an oxymoron most of the time. But no, and you find that a lot. You can't really fault yourself for looking for a father figure in, or trying to fill the void of a father figure with artificial father figure, which is what a coach is, what a teacher is. It's maybe artificial is not the right word, but it's not the real thing. And I get that. I grew up without a dad too. So I'm assuming you did.
I grew up without a mother,
okay,
but then I also grew up with a single dad that wasn't really involved.
So absent father.
Yeah.
Yeah, absent father. Yeah. Right there with you. Totally get it. So I found myself a lot of the same situations too, where it was like whether it was the upperclassmen or some of the adult staff at the military school that I went to, it was like, oh, okay, maybe that's the example I should be following or miss. Because kids without direction, well, just doesn't really foster anything positive anyway. But the number one way generally to bring down crime in adolescent youth that they keep finding over and over and over again are after school programs. It's sports programs. It's the fucking chess club. It's the whatever club. They're like boys and girls club or like the YMCA, whatever it is. That's why those institutions or schools, particularly high schools, having those type of programs is so important, is because it just keeps them occupied. The fostering of like the beginnings of adolescent crime happen between the hours of 3:30 and 8 p.m. because that's when, like, you know, they're out of school, but the parent's not home because they're probably, especially if it's a single parent household, they're out off at their second job, or they have the one job that takes so much time that they're gone 12 to 16 hours a day and whatever it is. Because I think a lot of people, especially the older generation, they romanticize the idea of being like a latchkey kid. Or it's like, oh yeah, I just kind of came home after school when I wanted, left when I wanted. You come home when the lights come on and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, that's all fine and dandy, and you know, I mean, you're looking back on it with rose-colored glasses, I'm sure. But what were you doing? You know what I mean? We've all seen Stand By Me. Did you go find a dead body? You know, it's that kind of thing. So I think what you're describing is generally a net positive, personally. Because how would your life have gone if you had started drinking, doing drugs at the age of 14? Probably would have gone off the wrong track.
Yeah, I think about that too all the time and stuff. Now, I don't know. The only reason, maybe it's just based off of like different experiences. The only reason I feel like it's a brainwashing thing to me is because like I missed out on a lot of fun. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of friendships, like groups specifically, that I can see lasted from high school to now just because they had so much shit that they did together. You know, like they took the time to be a kid and go out and fucking drive 2 hours away and your parents don't know, to some fucking, like, you guys camped out overnight and took shrooms or some shit like that. You know, like I hear those stories all the time.
I get what you mean.
And so I went into that phase like kind of after college when I had nothing going on. I didn't think I would ever become anything or whatever. Like I literally had that scum tattoo, and then this Harry Potter tattoo was actually an upside down cross and stuff. Like people would be like, why would you tattoo that to yourself? And why would you do that? And my answer would be like, I just want to have fucking fun. Like I'm tired of being the guy that follows all the fucking rules. Like and always.
Where'd you go to college at?
Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Oh,
Highlands.
Highland. That's right. That's right. Did you graduate college?
Fuck no, dude. I went to class literally for 3 days and then was like, this is bullshit. I'm not doing 4 years of this, but I do want to play rugby. And so as long as my college ID was valid for the year, I could play rugby whether I was failing classes, even going or not. And so I would only go to have the ID. And then I'd play college rugby. When the year was over, I went to a different... rugby is a club sport. It's not like an NCAA sport.
Right.
So all you need technically is a college ID to play college rugby. So whenever the year was up at Highlands, I went to the local community college in town and enrolled there, fucking got a ID there so I could go back to playing rugby at Highlands.
I respect the shit out of it, honestly.
I worked harder to be uneducated than I did to fucking actually go to college. When it was right there, I was able to do it. I didn't.
Yeah, and I mean, the only reason that I have an associate's degree is because I kept going to that military school, and it was a structured environment. And it was like, no, you have to go to class, you have to study, you have to blah 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 blah. The moment I touched UNM, I was like, oh no, this is not happening. Like, there's no way in hell. Because when I first started UNM, I was working 2 to 3 jobs depending on what was going on, and because I moved out of my mom's place, and I just couldn't live there anymore. I was like, okay, I'm going to get my own apartment. There's this little, like, 490 square foot apartment that my buddies just, like, flew in and out of. And so between having to pay all my bills for that and then doing UNM, I was like, dude, I'd rather drink with my buddies. Like, that's when I started drinking for sure. I was like, this is gay. I'm not doing fucking school. And then I joined the military and whatever. So you, large background in athletics, you start pro wrestling. When do you start enjoying pro wrestling? 2 months in? Was it from the jump with a lot of pain? Like, when did you find yourself thoroughly enjoying it?
I think I found myself enjoying it whenever it got to the point where they wanted me to figure out what my gimmick was. You know, that's when I knew that the easy road was coming ahead. You know, and of course, if you want to be a wrestler, and to be a wrestler you have to sustain this much pain, you train to take this much pain, right? And so whenever I was done training to take this much pain and we brought it back down here and they were like, all right, cool, what's your gimmick? Then it was like, finally, like it sucked in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, it really did suck. Imagine I would imagine, like, if you wanted to be a pilot or a doctor and all that, it's because you saw those moments where you saw some fucking guy flying the thing, where you saw a doctor driving that fucking, like, fancy ass car, and then you're like, oh sweet, that's awesome. But you don't see the fucking, like, 10 years of work that they have to do before. It really felt like that, dude. It really fucking, and you don't know when it's gonna end. Like, you don't know when they're gonna give you that okay of like, all right, cool, you're good enough to, like, move on and shit. So for that 2 months of, like, just doing all that shit, it really did fucking become like a big thing of, like, a big switch.
And did you start out wrestling in Albuquerque?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you even go about finding a school, like signing up for classes? How do you go about doing that?
So it actually fell on my lap. I didn't go looking for shit. Fred Slow is good friends with Joel Luevino from the Albuquerque Aardvarks, right?
Which is
the rugby team.
Okay.
Yeah, and
keep going. I'm just gonna check the cameras.
Okay. I played rugby for the Albuquerque Aardvarks for a while up until that point, And eventually Joel had went up to Fred, and Fred had made it known that he was going to create a wrestling promotion soon. It didn't exist yet, but it was coming soon. So Joel had kind of hinted to him, hey, I have this 6'4" rugby player, super fucking athletic, can do shit that he shouldn't be able to do. You guys should probably like train him up and see how he does. So WWE had came into town. Fred got Joel and I tickets to go in there, and that's when I had met those guys for the first time. And then they got me training to wrestle before that company was even made. And,
WWE?
No. Duke City Championship Wrestling here.
When did they come into town?
They're only like 2 years old, dude.
WWE.
No. That's just where I met Fred.
Right.
And all at that show. But
yeah, where was that? I'm just curious where that was at.
Rio Rancho Event Center.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's where I had met them. They saw me for the first time.
Right.
And then from there, they had got me in contact with Thunder, and Thunder put me to train in wrestling and stuff. And already from the jump, I knew I was going to be fucking good. So I dedicated as much as I could into it, you know?
So what would you say that your gimmick is? What would you say your gimmick is?
I think I'm genuinely just the guy people love to hate, however that may look. Whatever city I go to, it depends on what happens when I walk out the curtain. I don't plan shit. I feel like that's what makes me a professional, but like aside from other people, I don't plan jack shit. When I walk through the curtain, if I have a crowd that you can definitely tell when there's a guy that I'm fighting and they know who he is and they want to cheer for him and stuff like that, I know tonight is about me taking the L's. I'm going to set myself up to look like the big dumbass who got fucking taught a lesson, you know? But then other nights in a rowdier city, there's guys who are like, dude, fuck the good guy. We're not cheering for you, but we want to spend more time on you because you're talking shit back to us and we enjoy that, you know?
Yeah.
And so I know tonight is dedicated to being entertaining and making that smart ass guy laugh, because I know if I make him laugh, all his buddies are going to laugh and all that type of shit. And so, yeah, I mean, it's different. That's what it means to be a professional. You could literally walk in. I have no clue what's happening tonight, but I can know what's going to happen because I'm going to make that happen, you know?
Interesting. So you continue pro wrestling for, you said, a year now, right? And last Thursday happens. They decide you're going to win. Was it just a quick conversation like, hey, tonight's your night, bud? You're going to win? We're going to throw 3 fucking people at you, but you're going to win? Or what did that planning... Because is there, from your point of view, is there like a planned out story for you? You need to show all your cards, obviously, but like, is there a planned out like story for you? Or is it kind of, we're going to see what works, trying to figure out what your place on the chessboard is?
That's how it's supposed to be, ideally, right? But then I feel like... Duke City is just one of those shows where every show is a month apart, and half the time, half the crowd is brand new. They don't know what happened last show or anything like that. So if it was like on a weekly basis, that'd be different or something like that. But since they're monthly, it's more of like they just kind of set up the show to have it be one, go with the theme of the night, but also be something new, you know? Like, people don't want to see you wrestle the same guys every time,
right? So
they have to bring in new wrestlers from out of state to wrestle the guys from in state. And then fuck, what was the question again? I'm sorry, I'm so high.
So like the planning of like where your story's gonna go, and then what was the conversation like for you? Like, you're gonna win. Yeah.
So at this specific show, it just so happened to be that those first 2 guys that I had wrestled against are like green. They're rookies, right? I had actually helped them with the training and stuff like that because we all train under the same coach, you know? So I've been there for those guys, helping them train. So I was like their first match at Duke City, besides the Battle Royale. I'm not going to count that because there were so many people in that match, right? But this was their first match dedicated to like their time in the ring and stuff. So that's where the idea came up of like, all right, I'm going to face one rookie and you're going to get your time, and then I'm going to face you, and you're going to get your time because you can't put those guys with anybody else. And then when the third guy was supposed to come in, that's the veteran, right? And so it was actually pretty cool.
The magic dude, right?
Yes, Valak.
So happy when you beat the fuck out of that
Bro,
guy.
I love him. That's my homie, dude.
I'm sure he's a great dude. But the moment it was like the Magic Man, I just immediately thought of Talladega Nights. Where you've seen Talladega Nights, right?
Yeah.
Where John C. Reilly's character steals Will Ferrell's wife, and they come up with his new race car name, the Magic Man. Now you see me. Now you don't. It's like, beat the fuck out of that dude. Please. Start shooting off confetti in the ring and shit. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm glad he makes you feel that way. That's so good. He's one of the nicest fucking guys
I'm sure
ever.
he is. Oh, yeah.
But he's so nice that I'm pretty sure he was supposed to win. And he went up to ownership and was like, hey, dude, he was around when I first started. Like on my first day, he was there and shit. And so like he saw me come up and he was like, hey, man, this kid... he's put in the work and he definitely deserves it. So, he should beat those guys. And then I think he should also beat me too. And the ownership was like, yeah, we can definitely do that if everyone's cool with it and shit. So that was like my little moment of like, thanks you guys. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm sure it feels good to get the recognition of someone's been doing it for years. How long has he been doing it?
He's been doing it for over 10 years.
So with someone who's seasoned in what they're doing, I'm sure it's nice to get a little recognition there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I always have. That's the thing. Like on my first day at training, I was able to do a lot more than what a normal person just walking in could do. And so from the jump, they let me know that like my shit was unique, And so sometimes it takes people a year to 2 years to train. And I've had people saying it's going to take you 6 months. It took me 7 months. And so from that point, I would always kind of just get to that new level. And then whenever there would always just be something that a veteran would be like, hey, all right, this is what you're working on now. And then I'd do it. And they'd be like, that was fucking on the ball. Perfect. Exactly how it was supposed to be. Cool. And so, yeah, but you have to be humble about those type of dude. Yeah. You know what sucks about wrestling is you would think that the work you put in would determine everything about where you go, and it fucking doesn't.
We know in life that's not how it works out.
But it should. It fucking should. I hate that. This is what wrestling is, if we're being real, right? Let's say you started WWE, right? That's the biggest wrestling promotion there is right now. Let's say you started that, right? So now you say, this is what my vision of wrestling looks like, and I'm going to hire this guy to make that vision happen, right? So now it's like the mafia. You just gave like 5 people power to fucking over a locker room or whatever, right? So now everyone has to kiss those guys' ass so that they'll come back and be like, oh yeah, we should give this guy a shot or something. If I walk into a fucking place and I don't shake your hand, you will go to that guy and be like, hey, rookie over there didn't shake my fucking hand. And that'll cost me 5 years of work until that fucking guy is like 5 years later, I'll get over it. I'll give him a shot, That's literally what the fuck wrestling is.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, I'm not going to show all my cards here, but that's exactly, it's like that in stand-up too. Like I was having a conversation literally last night and 5 hours ago or so, 6 hours ago or so, with a local comic, 2 separate local comics about the same subject. And it's just all so like the how do I put this? Not that I want to hide anything, but I just want to be as accurate as I can. The networking, because I totally understand, like with stand-up specifically, right? I totally understand, and I agree with, to be frank, the vouching system. I totally agree with that. I get it. Now, should people get recognized off of their work? First of all, it's how funny you are. Much like in wrestling, how talented you are in the ring. That should be the barrier to entry. Like that should be,
Yeah.
How funny are you? Okay, cool. Should people get recognized off of like the content they put out, their following, sure, to a certain point, but Instagram didn't exist when Pryor was big, and fucking what if Pryor never got more than 100,000 followers back then? You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I get the vouching system where it's like a bigger comic hands down to the next generation, or the buddies are coming up with them, or even if it's like people that started at the same time, but one guy just popped off bigger and they want to have a helping hand of their friend they know is working hard, but just for some reason the algorithm didn't like them, or they didn't have the same opportunities, or whatever it is. Like, hey, I know we got this show tonight. This dude's really funny, or this girl's really funny. Give him 5-7 minutes. Let him work. I promise you, it's going to be good. Nothing happens, right? I totally agree with, and I understand that. But then you get into like the weird stuff where there's like, because basically what you're describing is gatekeeping.
Yes.
And it's not good. Just inherently, like, should there be standards? Should there be a filtration system? Sure, totally. You don't want to just put somebody on because they know all these people, or because they have a ton of followers or whatever. And I understand, like, especially with stand-up, like the asses in seats thing. It was like, oh, if we throw whoever on a show and they advertise it, they're going to bring a ton of people. That's really important. But it's about to be real embarrassing when they get up there and just bomb. Yeah, that's real embarrassing. I've had that happen. I've had friends that have that happen, whatever. But gatekeeping itself, like, that's how you, in my opinion, that's one of the number one ways to halt progression of anything.
Yeah.
Is to have a person or to have a couple of people that are in the way of, like, whether it's for their own gain, and it's like, well, I just know that I can get on a show of whatever level, whether it's like a bar show or a local, whatever, like a club show, by just asking or just saying, hey, can I get on the show? Or they bump other people, or they whatever. Or they can just bully people that produce shows, or bully people that book shows. Or it's like, no, you can't have that person on, even if they're funny. It's like, no, you can't have that person on. I don't like them. Oh, they're not that cool, or they're whatever. It's like, all right, well, are they? Now, it could be very real that they're an asshole. Assholes exist. That's very true. Or is this a personal thing? And that's a whole other conversation. I was like, well, why? Wait, what beef have you not settled that you think that I should take this person's opportunity away, or they should, whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Just the gatekeeping like that. I've never had that, like I don't run shows anymore by my own choice. Like I'll be real, I just got sick of it. And I love helping out AJ, and I'll help him out with shows and whatever. But and I loved working with Safe House, don't be wrong, but like between coordinating with a bunch of different venues and having just to like almost get into flat out arguments, not at Safe House, but at other, I'm not going to say who, but other venues in Albuquerque, about turning off a TV during a stand-up show, or like turning the volume up a little bit, or turning these lights down. Just these minute things that shouldn't be a headache, but I almost had to get into full-out arguments about with like not even venue owners, like venue staff that were in charge for the night that wanted to say no because they could.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, yeah, no, let's have fucking Monday. It wasn't Monday Night Football. Like, let's have a football game on while there's a stand-up show happening. Yeah. Yeah, fucking dunce. Let's do that. But anyway, it's just, but even when I was producing shows, like, I put people on shows that I don't like personally, I don't enjoy being around, but they're funny. Give them a shot. I just never understood personally, I've never understood the ego that it takes to be like, I don't care how good you are at what you do, I run this, you don't get to be on it because I said so.
Oh my God.
It's honestly, dude, it's womanly. Honestly.
Yes.
It's so fucking emotional, and it's so like, and that's what I mean by it. It's like, it's so emotional, and it's so based in, this is all about me. This is all my thing, and I get to say who passes and who doesn't pass. It's based on no other criteria other than I said so. Like, that's so gay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, dude. I actually have a story that happened to me in wrestling, and it's kind of crazy. It's a crazy
you
story.
can leave names out if you
I will
want
leave
to.
names out, but I kind of have to. You'll know what I'm talking about if you're educated in wrestling, right? I work for one of the oldest wrestling promotions in the country. It's like over 100 years old. And so it has like 8 different branches of this company, right? And so of those 8 branches, obviously there's like the successful one that's been around for a long time, and then like there's the second most successful one, let's say in Chicago, and then the other successful one in Texas, you know, like, but they have 8 different promotions all around the country. And New Mexico just so happened to be like their 8th promotion. Like they had we merged with the company, and very recently, like a year ago or maybe even less, we had became with them, right? So now the one of the big guys who runs everything, like manages all the companies and looks over all of us, was on our company's podcast. And one thing that he was asked from a guy who coaches us, literally coaches us, right? He said, hey, he asked for us. He said, hey, for the new guys listening back home or anything, your company has a lot of success, whether it's this state, that state, all this stuff. Since we're the new state, for the new boys, just let us know what they could do to maybe get a little bit more eyes on them and have somebody else reach out and have them like get exposure at those other promotions, right? Guy fucking sits up there and goes, oh, well, you know, one thing that they could definitely do that I don't see a lot of guys doing now is take jabs at the other promotions, you know, like guys like when they see Chicago arguing with Texas, and then like eventually those guys meet up in the ring and all that type of, like he's like, I like seeing that type of stuff, right? So we go, okay, that question was literally asked for me and my best friend Ricky Rebel, who's also a wrestler, and we both trained together and came up together. But so we say, okay, cool. Like, so now we know we have to go
talk some shit
online and take jabs. So we go and we spend like maybe an hour just going on to like their social media platforms.
Just like Reddit trolling?
Hell yeah, dude. Finding the champions in each promotion, being like, bring that belt to New Mexico. Like, we want to see you. And like, or we'll go out to you and like all that. Well, we're just talking shit. Nothing crazy at all. Like, literally wrestler talk. Like, oh, I'm going to give you one and then I'm going to take
cutting a promo or whatever.
Literally.
Yeah.
But in text, right?
Yeah.
And so we did that for about an hour, right? The next day, we get a fucking phone call from our boss going, what the fuck did you guys do? I have like 3 different fucking states calling me saying, hey, that kid and that kid were talking so much shit. Like, why the fuck, who are these kids? Why the fuck are they talking to us like that? So we're like, oh, no.
I wouldn't have even replied. I would have just I would have screen recorded the clip from the podcast and just sent it.
That's going to come up, right? That's going to come up. So we tried telling our boss, who was on the podcast. He heard the guy say what he said. We said, no. We're just doing what the guy said that he wanted us to do. He said, go online, take some jabs. So we went online, took some jabs, all that shit. What ended up happening was the wrestlers that had egos were like, oh, this kid's not arguing because someone told him to. He's arguing because I've been in the business for 20 years and he wants to take my spot and he thinks he could just come over here and talk all this shit. And so now I have all these different veterans that have been over 20 years of wrestling going to their veterans being like, yeah, that guy needs to be taken care of. I ended up getting suspended. Me and my buddy got suspended for a show. And on top of that, now every single person who like runs shows in different states, even the guy who flies here to run this show sometimes, all just look at us like, fuck you two. And it's like, bro, we've put in so much fucking work where I am very, very, very confidently going to say that I'm more talented than half of these fucking people. You know, like I'm not just some average guy that you can hire that kid and he'll fill in somebody's spot. Like, no, I'm fucking like a guy that you'll come to see me. You know what I'm saying? You will come to see me. And so I put in all that fucking work. You have 2 kids here who are dying to advance. So we're literally fucking paying attention to what you tell us to do. And then we take the clip and we send it to the fucking people, and we're like, it's a big misunderstanding, bro. Like, you guys, we're not talking shit. We're two young kids just trying to fucking make it far. Here's the clip that your boss is telling us to do this shit to you guys, and da-da-da. We don't care. You're fucking suspended for a month, and every time we see you, we're gonna not even shake your fucking hand like you're dog shit to us. And it's
is this over the phone or over text?
This was all within a span of 3 days over text.
So you got receipts on these people.
Yes.
Beautiful.
We fucking texted the people we talk shit to. They texted their guy texted our boss texted us that we were suspended.
If I was, and I don't purport to be, obviously, and I know next to nothing about wrestling. I've learned more about wrestling in the last hour or so than I have ever in my life. Between this and with Fred. But if I was a promoter and I see all this squabbling happen, I would take advantage of it. Like, yeah, look at these dumbasses running their mouths on social media. Looks like we have to settle this somehow. Like, in the ring, when cameras are on and there's an audience and you can bring the audience in and you can cut promos, post them online, maybe put some money behind it so a lot of people see it. I would have taken advantage of that instantly. Honestly, I probably would have suspended you guys too just to make a bit out of it. It's like, oh, fuck these guys for what they said. They're suspended. So that when your comeback happens, it's like, oh, look at them. Or break your suspension and show up anyway and beat the fuck. Like, there's so much you can mine out of that. And they took it seriously?
So this is what they did pretty much. They sat us down and said, hey, guys, it doesn't work like that. If you go online, this is literally what they told us. They said, if you go online and you try and use cutting promos on people and all that stuff to get eyes on you, then you're cutting line. That's exactly how they put it to us. The way they want it to work is, hey, no, they'll go, hey, look, kid, I know you're excited and I know you want to strive and all this shit. Let me take you. Here he is right here. You're going to kiss this guy's ass for 10 years. And then when he gets old enough to where he can't wrestle anymore and he takes the backstage spot, then he's going to pick you to be that guy that, like, that's not cutting line. Then they
literally have to pass the torch is what they're saying.
Yes.
That is so gay.
That's fucking wrestling for you, bro.
No, I'm not falling on my back for years for that. Just for some old fart to not pick me.
I've had those feelings. I've had those. That's why the transition into Power Slap is so fucking important.
And we're going to get to that here in a second, because my whole thing is like, would they be saying that if you had 250,000 followers on Instagram, if you had close to 1 million on TikTok, if you had this big following where you're like, well, what do you say about this? And you just post something and it gets like 250,000 views. You know what I mean? Like, because that's, unfortunately, that's the name of the game in entertainment now. Like, there was a leak that came out. I can't remember what production company or what movie studio it was, but there was this leak that came out where they were putting together, like, they had scripts for a couple of movies, and I think a couple of them actually ended up getting made. And they were like, okay, who are we going to put in this movie? Because obviously, like, there are movie stars that have big draws and whatever, but it's like, who are we going to put in this movie based on their social media following, where they post about the movie and it's going to draw more eyes to it? Who are we going to put in it that's going to get more asses in the seats? Not because of their talent, but because of, like, the followings that they have. So it's even stretching into the movie industry. But even, like, with stand-up comedy, there are comedians, like, there's TikTok comedians, and then there's comedians that got big on TikTok. I think those are two very different things. Yeah, like, you have, like, there's been a couple of them that have come through, like Casadas, and I think there's like one or two that went through Highness. And I'm not going to say who, but there's one specifically that came through Casadas that apparently just all 4 shows were dog shit, that were just absolutely terrible. But a lot of those shows were close to selling out because millions on TikTok, millions on Instagram, whatever. And then, you know, like, the last time I was at Casadas, I did a guest spot for this guy named Chris Strait. I don't know how this, maybe just because the club's getting bigger, but the shows, all of them sold out. Dude has 1,900 followers on Instagram. 1,900. And he just murdered for like 45, 50 minutes. And then I think each night he did a different set. No crossover, no retelling the same joke, just completely. So he had 2 hours of material that he split up between 4 shows and just murdered, killed the whole time. And so I'm like, well, that's the type of guy that needs fucking millions of followers. This guy's been doing it for 30 years and just kills.
Yeah.
Kills. And then you have, influencers. And so I wonder how different that conversation is. If old boy Johnny Magna suddenly gets, a couple 100,000 followers or whatever, I doubt that conversation is the same.
That's kind of the goal. I'm not gonna lie. Like I got into an argument with my coach about this one time driving back from Las Cruces when we did a show. But he, bless his heart, is like in his late 40s or like mid 40s now. He has kids that he always takes them into consideration when he's thinking about shit and stuff like that. But he kind of gave me a talk that was like, yeah, well, people try and like stand out on their own, and sometimes it hurts them because the guys who are ahead of them are jealous, and essentially those are the guys that can determine their fate. And like sometimes you just got to do things the right way or whatever. And I was like, fuck that.
Well, there's an element to that is true, but things change with time. Like I think you do need to have the fundamentals of how to do your art, but we're in a different world. And if you do bulk up your following and you start getting into the 6 figures, or 6 digits rather, with your following, it's, you can't, I'd imagine that at some point you get to circumvent a few things. If you have the foundation of, you're a good wrestler, you're good in the ring, you know how to promote yourself, you know how to, like all like that basic lot. If you've mastered the basics of what you were describing earlier, and then you put on top of it, a huge following, in theory, you circumvent some of that ass kissing, I would imagine.
I don't ass kiss though. That's my problem.
Yeah.
I since I've gotten into wrestling, bro, I've gotten into so much fucking trouble. It's ridiculous. I'm not even kidding. It's not even funny to me because it's a lot of shit. I got into so much fucking trouble. And I'm a firm believer that, if you have a boxer who started from scratch and worked his way up to amateur and then worked his way up to pro, and then from pro got some eyes, and then like that's the classic American fucking dream, right?
Right.
But I'm a firm believer that if you have a Tyson walk into your gym and that first fight he knocks somebody out like the most brutal you've ever seen someone before, that he gets a little bit of more of a jump, right? And then in that big leap, that's going to be this new big challenge for this guy. He knocks that guy out fucking in the most brutal way you've ever seen before and shit like that. Like that guy deserves to fucking take some leaps. And so that's kind of what I'm doing with the power slap is like, I don't want to kiss your ass, but I do have the talent.
How did power slap come about? Because, dude, I totally understand power slap and its concept. I think Dana White actually said this. In my opinion, that is the perfect sport for social media. That is the perfect one for it. Because I think fighting in general, just combat sports, are great for social media because that's like the most basic human instinct being performed. It is who is better than the other, who gets the more, because thousands of years ago, 2 people were fighting, well, the winner gets all the resources. Yeah. Whether it's a one-on-one combat or it's a nation invading another nation, a village invading another village, whatever it is, it's if you lose, you now have lost your resources, you've lost your food, you probably lost your wife, you probably lost your, like, it's the most basic, like we all look at that and we're like, there are stakes here. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I understand power slap, and then you get to power slap and it's just 2 people bitch slapping each other. And so you got the funny factor, and then you have some of those clips where a dude gets smacked and he just goes fucking stiff, hits his head on the thing, falls over, and then obviously there's people there to catch him, but I'm glad you caught him so he didn't get a second TBI.
Yeah.
But like when there's this video that I saw a couple days ago where a guy gets smacked and his body like whips back, so he becomes like a 90-degree angle, frozen up already. Then he hits his head on the podium and then he falls. I'm just like,
I was there.
So you were there for that?
Let me tell you a story about that. So the UFC flies you out for like a week before the fight, just so you know your medical shit is done. You could sign posters and like whatever they need you to do. You're in Vegas for a week, right? So that whole week we spent so much time, the fighters, getting to know each other, and it was like it was all fucking bunnies jumping in the grass in the woods, right? And then literally fight day comes and no one hates each other. That's the crazy thing about Power Slap. We all are so fucking insane, and it's not a fight, you know, like we're all so insane that we all understand we're coming in here to take a slap and give a slap, right?
Right.
So everyone is so fucking cool with each other. We're all like, good luck, you know, everything. And then we end up going into the locker rooms, and I'm personally treating it like a wrestling match. Like I'm in the locker room, you know, I'm getting whatever gear they want me to have on the shoes I'm gonna wear that I want on TV, and like I'm thinking about all this shit that doesn't really fucking matter, right? And then they were the first fight of the night, or early prelims, not recorded. Like it's all the rookies first, and then live show goes on later with all the vets, right? So they were the first fight of the night. I literally just talked to that guy, the guy that got knocked out. I spent a lot of time that week hanging out with him.
I'm going to try to find this really quick. Keep going.
And so I literally just got done fucking talking to him the night before. We were having a meal at Denny's, and I asked him, I go, do you feel like is it possible to be ready for this shit, you know? And the guy was real into CrossFit. It's Stunt Marshall versus Dante Smiley, in case you're wondering.
Wait, say it one more time.
Stunt Marshall versus Dante Smiley. Power Slap 13. But yeah, so I'm eating dinner with him, and I asked him that question, like, oh, do you think someone could ever really be ready for this?
So you're eating with this guy?
Yes.
Oh!
And so he is a CrossFit guy. He does CrossFit competitions, ridiculously strong. I see on his social media that he's spent weeks training his fucking neck, his arms, like everything. The ideal perfect person to be doing this shit should be that guy, right? And he sits there and he tells me, you know, yeah, I put in all the work. Oh my God, look, the Nike check mark. So look, look, this is crazy, right? So he's telling me, yeah, I've put the work in, and I've done so much that there's no way I'm not ready for this, and like all this type of shit.
He got knocked out by a dude that has 3 haircuts.
Yeah, it's dude, Stunt Marshall. Oh. You know why he has that? He works for the Savannah Bananas.
The fuck is that?
That baseball team that goes on tour in all yellow, and they're more of like the partying baseball team. He's one of the party animals that go around and entertain the crowd. But so right before he walks out of the locker room, I tell him, I'm like, good luck, bro. Go get this motherfucker, all this shit, right? I dap him up. He walks out. We see this. There's like 10 of us in the locker room now, right? We're all new, have never had a fight before. We see this. And literally the words that come out of my mouth were, oh, shit. And I'm sitting there fucking grabbing my head, and everyone just goes silent. The entire locker room goes silent. We all get butterflies on our fucking stomach. And that was like our real first welcome to Power Slap moment that we realized any one of us could literally go home tonight, viral as fuck, getting knocked the fuck out on like that was the first time you really thought about it, you know? But yeah, I was there for that.
Well, because I want to make this super clear to people so they I'm not a doctor, but I know the basics of like injuries. Basically what's happening there when a knockout happens is you're getting hit either repeatedly or one time so fucking hard that your brain is hitting your skull, that it is smacking against your skull, and basically the lights turn out. It's like watching like the scary ones or watching people that get hit so hard that they start snoring. That's the scary ones. Like, oh, is that dude fucking dead? And then you see that one, so he's getting hit here. So I don't know the science behind it, but I know that if your jaw snaps hard enough, it's something in your temple that basically lights out, that makes the brain hit and then lights out. But with him, because he's seized like that, and his, like this, I'd imagine his center of gravity got shifted, while his body goes that way, the head goes forward. So he's hit here, hits here, and now he's got gravity to deal with, despite these people trying to lower him down. That's two parts of the head that are just getting rocked.
Do you watch Power Slap often?
Every so often.
You know what knockout I think you'd really like if you want to look this one up? It's actually the one that just recently went viral, but it's Austin Turpin versus Vernon Cathy. And if you like that knockout because his body seized up, you'll like this one. It's
is it a skinny black or like a black dude and a white dude?
No. Two white dudes.
Okay, here we go. The Wolverine versus Austin Turpin?
No. You know what? It might not even be out yet. It might just be like a clip on TikTok or some shit like that. Because,
so Austin Turpin versus who?
Vernon Cathy. And pretty much what happens is the same exact thing. Vernon Cathy gets slapped, but instead of hitting his head on the table and then falling backwards, he gets knocked out on the table upright.
Is it this one?
Yes.
Okay, so this dude, Austin's about to smack the other guy?
Yes.
So Austin's about to, he's like squaring up on this guy. Smacks
on the table.
Oh, no.
He stays on the, and then slides off with that same full body check mark position. See, when it's not happening to you, this is fucking awesome, dude. This is great entertainment. But, see, he's actually a veteran. The one getting knocked out right now. He's been there for a while.
How long has Power Slap been around?
2 years.
Oh.
To me, that's awesome. I think getting knocked out isn't as bad as everyone fucking thinks it is. Especially if you're the person getting knocked out. It's really not that fucking bad.
I don't know, man. I just think about like the veteran boxers. You know, like you look at Muhammad Ali towards the end of his life, or you look at was it Sugar Ray Leonard? It's another really big boxer where like towards the end of their life, and they're not, like, by today's standards, they're not that old, like in their 60s ish, and just slurred speech.
That's Nate Diaz right about now, dude.
I was gonna say Nate Diaz is a good example too, where it's like he's cognitively there, he's there. You could tell the spirit is there, but just the speech, the motor functions, like you're not meant to sustain that amount of damage over a long period of time. Like the human body is extremely fragile, and like I think, like I've already articulated earlier in this podcast, I have all the respect in the world for pro wrestlers for doing what they're doing. Signing up for Power Slap, bro.
If you ask me, I will argue that Power Slap is actually safer than any of those combat sports, and I can prove to you why.
Okay.
So they say that MMA is safer than boxing because in boxing, you have so much padding on your knuckles and stuff that it's meant for you to be able to take more of those hits. And so that's what fucks you up, is being able to take so many hits, right?
Right.
So in MMA, the gloves are a little bit skinnier, and in the fact that
they're much lighter. They're much lighter.
You can get knocked out or hurt
quicker,
a lot easier.
Yeah. And
then say I'm done, compared to sitting there taking over and over and over and over.
Well, the fights are also longer in boxing.
Yes.
It's more centered on the head, the upper body and the head.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go through an MMA match. I mean, obviously you're going to take some shots to the face or shots to the body or whatever, but you could be going up against a master grappler or a master wrestler, and they're going to choke you out. They'll bend your arm the wrong way. And because the professionals, they're not there to snap your arm. They're not there to snap your leg in half. They're going to put you in a very uncomfortable, painful position until you tap out, but you can still tap out.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying.
With power slap, let's say me, a guy who doesn't have a championship, I have three rounds in any fight I fight, unless it's championship round, then it's 5, right? So if I were to fight 3 times this year, let's say I had my first one, this will be my second one, let's say I can squeeze one in before the end of the year, right? That's in total maybe 9 slaps with an open palm, and that's significantly less strikes than one fighter in any combat sport would take in the first round, half of a first round.
True. Okay, true. Now, I'm not I'm not very well versed in combat sports. I'm outside looking in, right? I would imagine, though, that so you are correct. The amount of strikes you are taking are less. Like, I mean, there's like those fights in MMA where it's like over the course of 5 rounds, there's like 100 strikes landed or whatever it is, right? But in power slap, while the number of strikes are down, every strike is guaranteed to hit your head. It's a guarantee hit, not only on the head, it's exposed. You're literally setting yourself up like a T-ball to get hit. And the chances out of 10 of you getting knocked out in an MMA match, I'd say are like a 6, maybe a 7. The chances of you getting knocked out in a power slap, 8.5, 9.5, maybe. Like you're just letting it all out. You're there, and I notice in a lot of the other clips I've seen for power slap, they almost like extend their neck a little bit. So like all of you is just exposed, ready to go. And it's not like your opponent just gets one wind up and hit. They get to like, oh yeah, right. Oh no, maybe I want to hit right there. Okay, how does that look? Oh, actually we'll do a little bit of that. Okay. They get to a perfect shot. And I would just imagine too, because the amount of damage that you're taking in power slap, like, is that dude okay? Like the first one that we watched, the one that you were there for.
Oh yeah.
Is he like mobile and moving?
Yeah, you know what's funny is that he's actually very, very nice and religious, and he fucking right away when he woke up was just like, good for him, and I hope.
Okay, and I understand that completely because of the sportsmanship of it, but he's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
He laughs at all the fucking videos and like.
I'm sure, but like, you see what I'm saying? Like, yes, the amount of strikes are lower, but it's all centered in one direction. You are guaranteed to take a headshot, and because of how new power slap is, we have data on boxing. We have data on MMA fights. What did these regular power slap athletes look like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road if they're continuously doing this to themselves? Because you're right, you are taking significantly less strikes, and maybe you get a lucky draw, let's just say, a lucky draw on an opponent, and he just kind of slaps you a little, in comparison relative to the other fighters in power slap, they slap you a little wimpy, and you're like, oh, that's it? And you just, so you got like a little whatever, and you just bitch slap this guy and he goes down. You're like, oh, well, that was my fight for the next 6 months.
Yep.
Sick, sounds good. But then what happens if you've got 2, 3, 4 matches in a row that are like that?
So I think that it actually matters that they have us not being able to move our feet. We have a specific target area that we have to hit and stuff like that. Like, if you watch any of the other combat sports, I can put this foot back there and then leap into my punch and then be leaning forward like into it and all this type of, with my knuckles. Like getting knocked out in power slap is just different from getting knocked out in other. It's a knockout is a knockout, but to me,
I was going to say you're still.
There's like imagine you were a car, right? There's getting into like an accident on the freeway, which is what I would consider MMA, but then there's getting into a fender bender on the streets. You technically got into a car accident, but one is significant. I could have this car for years and have fender benders, like
right, but the value of the car still goes down. What if you get new parts that don't work well?
That you gave up. I can tell you right now, I am well aware that I'm giving up my body to wrestling.
For sure.
I gave it up to rugby.
No, I'm not discounting that at all. Oh, no. I'm not discounting.
I know I'm going to be fucked up.
Yeah, no, you've made the You've made that agreement with yourself,
Yeah.
for which again I respect the shit out of. You're never gonna catch me doing that. I'm just not built for that. That's just not gonna happen. Sorry. Like I used to love boxing when I was in college. Like I loved mainly because of the shape that it put me in. But I love boxing and I love sparring. I never had like an actual match or anything like that. So that's why I don't like. I used to box. I used to train. That's it. And I loved getting into sparring matches. But like I also loved knowing that when we were sparring, we had headgear and we had coaches, and it wasn't like a fucking slobber knocker that was going for 10 rounds. And like I'm spitting up blood and and my opponent's chasing stars, and you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like I've never put myself in a real like violent encounter like that outside of like one incident that I had years ago, like just in real life. My point is like with the power slap stuff, I'm curious. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. Entertainment's entertainment. We used to fucking have gladiator matches. You know what I mean? Like that's in the human history. Yeah. So I'm not against it at all. I'm just curious to see what happens to these guys that are getting these direct hits, even if it's just a few times a year. Because again, if you get knocked out, I think everybody's built differently, and your body chemistry and the amount of training you've put yourself through, and then your diet and your blah 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 blah. But you only have so many knockouts. It's like when Subway used to have like the rewards thing, and you would punch it. You ever get one of those?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, 10 subs, you get a free sub. You only have so many punches on that card. And for everybody, it's different. I'm not trying to scare you out of it or nothing like that, but it's just like, I'm just curious because we've never had to my knowledge anyway, we've never had a sport where you're just getting hit in the head. What does this look like? Does it exist 15 years from now? Yeah. That's my first thing. Does a athletic commission or any type of like legal body step in and say, hey, we can't do this anymore? I wonder if that's a thing. I doubt it. I just doubt it. And personally, I don't think they should step in, because if these people are signing up to do it of their own volition and of their own consent, fucking let them.
Yeah.
And there's people willing to watch it. Hey, I'm willing to watch it, dude. It's insane to me, but I'm just curious to see how the evolution goes. You know what I mean?
This may be an unpopular opinion, and you can tell me like how you feel on it.
Yeah.
I don't believe, and this is only for people that are living the lifestyle that I'm living currently, but it's like I don't believe in safely getting old. You know, I feel like a lot of people spend a lot of their youth being careful or healthy. I'm not going to knock being healthy, but just like
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that they can reach that age of 60 where when you say, okay, now I'm old, now you have to be more careful and take more care of your body, and like you're fucking yourself over. Yeah. I think if you are willing to like live a crazy life and you're willing to put your body and mind and like sanity essentially through all this crazy shit, just it's fine to die a little bit fucking younger.
I see what you're saying. So I definitely see your logic, and I think it's a fact of life that you're not supposed to live super comfortably. You're not supposed to, like, the fact that we have air conditioning, the fact that we have indoor plumbing, the fact that we can just go to a grocery store and get our meat, you know, that kind of thing. Relatively speaking, very new additions to the human experience. Yeah. Extremely new. Now, don't get me wrong, I love all of that, and I hope none of it goes away, because as much as I love using firearms and camping every now and again, guess what, dude? I love the convenience. I want to spend my life talking. Okay? If that's not the most comfortable, bitch-made way to live your life, I'm not sure what is. All right? No, for real. I just call it what it is, right? But on the opposite side of that, I think exclusively seeking out comfort is not a good thing, in the same way that exclusively seeking out happiness is not a good thing. I think you actually end up harming yourself in that pursuit, because it's fleeting anyway, right? You can do your best to put yourself in comfortable situations or to make yourself happy over and over again, but you're going to fry your dopamine receptors looking for, I'm sure you doom scroll too. Everybody does. Yeah. And for me, it's about 10 minutes into it. Then I'm like, I should stop doing this. There's other things I need to do right now. I could be productive. I could blah, 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 and I'm still and before you know it, an hour's gone by. I'm like, well, I just lost an hour of my life to the algorithm. Good fucking job.
Why is that bad?
Because you've done nothing productive with your life.
But you can tell that your mentality makes up for that.
No.
You just did.
Okay, yes. So you can't make up for it because you can't go back in time and get that hour back, right? You can never get that hour back. Now you can do things to prevent yourself from doing that again, but you're always, if you're going to get real, like kind of, I guess, like nitpicky about it, you're in a deficit as far as time goes. Because, hey, none of us know I could die tonight, you could die tonight, we could die tomorrow, whatever. We're always in a deficit as far as time goes. So you're never going to go back and get time back. But in the future, you can do things that will limit the amount of time wasted. You're never going to be at 0, right? You're never going to use 100% of your time as effectively as humanly possible. No one does that. Nobody at all. But you can put yourself in a position to do that better, right? But what I was saying about pursuing comfort, just pursuing happiness, if you're just looking, because happiness is a very abstract concept that everyone has a different version of. Like, you're very clearly, after this conversation, your idea of happiness is like pro wrestling and doing power slap and doing things that are adverse to your body. That is not going to be the same version of happiness as somebody else that enjoys studying a lot or reading a lot, or they enjoy fishing a bunch, or they enjoy, let's just say, softer pleasures in life, right? So the idea of happiness is very arbitrary anyway. But at the end of that, if you're just seeking happiness over and over again, all you're really doing is seeking a dopamine spike and a dopamine rush. And those levels can't just rev in the red 100% of the time. You're going to drop, right? You see that, and that's how you form addictions, right? Where like, I'm addicted to nicotine. I fucking love these things, right? Now I'm making an effort to use less and less and less, but I fucking love these things, right? Like, I had to get off of energy drinks because I knew those were going to kill me eventually. So now I'm just a black coffee guy. And so it's like, okay, that's a way to make life better, right? But then you see more addictions like alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever, that when these are pleasurable things in life, but if you're going to sink into that and just do it over and over and over, trying to maintain that high, it's going to kill you. But to your point of what you're saying is where you shouldn't be, how did you just say, you shouldn't basically be living safe all the time.
Yeah, comfortably get old.
You shouldn't comfortably be getting old, exactly. I think there's a lot of wisdom to that, because even just being healthy, keeping your body in shape, that requires pain. Being in the gym is not comfortable. At least it shouldn't be, right? Like even something like yoga. It looks comfortable, but you start actually doing it, and you're like, what the fuck is going on with my butt? This fucking sucks, right?
Yeah.
But then you get better at it, then you do more comfortable things that makes it, it's this revolving door that you're in. But weight training, cardiovascular training, whatever you're doing in the gym, wrestling, combat sports, you're in the pursuit of making yourself healthier. You're in the pursuit of making yourself better, but it's that old, very cliche saying, like pressure makes a diamond, right? It's that kind of thing. And then avoiding that will bring you problems later in life. If you make it to your 60s, your 70s, your 80s, your body just won't be there. Your mind just won't be there because you didn't take care of it when you are virile, when you are in like the prime of your life between the ages of like 15 and 40, whatever it is. Right, when you're in that range, you don't do anything with it. You spend all that time playing Xbox, drinking, doing drugs, eating fast food, not really moving your body, not exercising your body, not exercising your mind. You're gonna have a horrible time in your 60s, 70s, and your 80s. You just will. Yeah. So I think you're completely right about that.
I think I just don't see time the way everyone else does,
which is perfectly fine.
Yeah. When I think of like, for example, when you said scrolling through your phone for an hour and then losing that hour of your life, right? I don't think of life in hours. And I know I'm like a weirdo for that, but I literally think of there is no, like, there's man-made time, 5 o'clock and stuff like that, obviously. But, like, I think there's just one continuous day. That's how I see life. One continuous day, right? And so, to me, it's like the same way you might have said that I could scroll through that phone for an hour, to me, it's like I could have slept for that hour and we'd have the same result. Or in that hour that I would have spent sleeping, I could wake up at 2 a.m. and have work at 7, but I wake up at 2 a.m. and I'm like, it would make me really happy to work out right now. And then I know that I'm going to go work out, probably not get home until like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., something like that. And then I have work at 7. But then I won't think like, oh, time, I don't have the time. I'll just think, okay, well, it's just going to suck for a couple of hours until you're done with your shift and then you go sleep and shit like that. But so that's how I chase my happiness, or I chase my moments, or I pick my moments to be brave. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I see what you're saying, but that also boils down to like, if you decided, this is a very like extreme example, but if you decided that instead of training for a wrestling match, you're going to spend all that time on your phone, well, after a while, you're going to turn into a shit wrestler. Sure. If you don't train at all. And then, because I see the idea of what you're saying, right? Because you're basically describing the displacement of time. That's basically what you're describing.
Sure.
If you spend all your time that you should be in the gym on your phone, sleeping, whatever, just avoiding responsibility, and then you show up to your wrestling match, you might get away with it the first or second time, but after that, you're going to be a shit wrestler.
But you already know that I'm a wrestler.
Right, you know but you're saying? Not. But you're gonna. But it's a something like wrestling, much like with stand up or anything that requires constant work. It's a I'm forgetting the fucking term for it. What's the type of food that you can store for a long time, and there's the type of food that's
non-perishable?
Non-perishable. It's a perishable skill, right? Yeah. Wrestling, stand up. It's a very perishable skill, and if you don't work at it, you don't do it constantly, it's gonna go away.
So here's what I would think about like the way you're describing, because I see what you're saying too, right?
Yeah.
But here's where I'm a fucking weirdo, and where I think, right? I'm already the guy that you see as a wrestler, and that that makes me happy, right? And so if in a hypothetical situation I was to spend an hour on my phone and up until then, that would be bad. But in this lifetime, I'm a guy who's a wrestler and doing that because he's happy and fucking all this shit, right? But then at the same time, if you had now a guy who wasn't doing shit with his life and decided that he was going to be that guy that spent full time on Xbox and all that type of shit or whatever, that guy is the same exact guy as me. The only difference is that people around him don't like that shit. People will look at me and be like, oh, well, you work hard and you have good work ethic. And it's like, sure, but realistically, I'm just a guy that lives in the moment. I found wrestling, and so that's just what I do, right? And I'm living that life because it makes me happy. But also, if I lived in a hypothetical world where wrestling was banned and shit like that, like I'd probably still fucking do it despite everyone not liking me.
So so I see what you're saying. However, yes, you are the same person in the respect that you both deserve equal rights. You don't deserve to be persecuted against. You don't deserve to have...
We were born into a world that we didn't fucking choose, so I'm going to do what I want.
Right. But these two people, you're describing a active and a lazy person, right? No person is better than the other on the basis of like being a human. Of course not, right? Because it's like nobody has more value than the other. Sure, I agree with that. And shouldn't like the lazy person just because they want to spend their life on Xbox doesn't deserve to like not vote or whatever, or not own a vehicle, or not go to a job, or be able to buy a house or fall in love or whatever. Okay, yes, I completely agree with all of that. However, when you look at if you're placing value in how would you rather live your life, and these are all very arbitrary things, but like what may lead to a better outcome, and depending on what your outcome of your life, what you want it to be. But if you're looking just at productivity in general, like I love playing video games. I was playing video games before you showed up. I love playing video games. But I know inherently that no matter how much time I put into these video games, it's not going to really improve my life. Getting a higher score, beating a level, getting more skilled at a game, it's not really going to improve my life. It's not. But if I were to spend that time like reading, in the gym, writing, these things that not only just work out my body, work out my mind, but it also fuels what I want to do with my life. Because the way I see it is the amount of time. So there's a certain amount of hours, productive hours, I'd say.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of productive hours that I need to put into podcasting and into stand-up, where it's both the front end of it, like, which is this is obviously the best part of podcasting, right? Is actually doing the thing.
Yeah.
Much in the same way the best part of stand-up is going up on a stage and killing, right? That's the best part of it. There's nothing that even touches it, obviously. So there's the amount of hours that I have to do the fun part of it, the front end, and there's a lot of other hours in the back end that I have to spend that fuels the front end of it, right? So with podcasting, it's the editing, it's the posting. Eventually, when it gets more money in the bank, it's going to be the advertisement, it's going to be the networking, it's the travel if I'm going out of state to do the podcast. Honestly, a lot of expanding the way that I speak and expanding my vocabulary. There's a lot of reading, there's a lot of listening to other podcasts that I enjoy, seeing how people ask their questions, how they drive conversations, how they add their own input, when it, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then with stand-up, it's, again, basically the same thing as that. It's the networking, it's writing, it's advertising myself, all of that. There is a certain amount of hours that I have to do all of those things that will eventually, when used properly and productively, will then convert to, this is now my full-time job. I'm now a full-time podcaster, stand-up comedian. Great. Okay. Now, every hour that I spend reading a comic book, taking a nap, playing video games, whatever recreational thing, right, that I do that is taking away from this. Just definitionally is, because I could be spending that extra hour doing everything I just described over here, right? And I don't think that's arguable. Now, does that make me a better person than somebody else that doesn't have ambition, doesn't want to do, but they just want to go to their 9 to 5, come home, whatever? No, not at all. That does not make me a better person. However, there's an argument to be made about productivity. There's an argument to be made about human potential and whether it's being used properly or whether it's, because that's the real kicker, is when you see somebody putting so much time into something that they clearly shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not even just like a vice or like a negative part of life. Like, they love this thing they see other people excelling at and they're doing it, and it's like, buddy, I don't think this is for you.
Yeah.
And that's the real kicker too. But I'm confident that what I'm doing right now is the thing I'm supposed to be doing, right? It's just things have just tended to, like you've been describing, things have just tended to work out in this direction. I'm like, oh, okay, well, thank God I found the thing that I happen to really enjoy, and it might be the thing I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Thank God I found it now. I hate to cross the finish line at 60, 70 years. Like, man, maybe I should have been doing that thing. Fuck. That, oh well, and just croak. You know, like, that's not good. But that's what I'm trying to articulate. You know, it's like,
but it's because you get to think like that. That's the thing. Like, that's all a part of it. You know, have you ever seen that one movie, No Country for Old Men?
Yeah, I love that
where
movie.
The guy was like, if the rule you followed led you to here, then what was the point of the rule, right? If it's 100 years from now, right? Let's who was in your family fucking 10 generations ago, and what was their biggest struggle as a family?
right. Nobody
You don't
really-
fucking know.
Yeah, nobody
right?
knows. Yeah,
And so I'm kind of like,
you can guess, but yeah,
but does it matter? Like
Sure.
I'm not saying that one life is necessarily better than the other or anything like that. I'm saying that, like, if one guy, like I said, I'm not living this life because it's the way I should be doing it, or it's like I'm not thinking of it as like the way I progress. Like, I literally call my life Forrest Gumping through life. Forrest Gump literally just fucking woke up every day and kind of just ran into shit, and it made him like
right. Yeah,
shit happen, you know? And so that's kind of how I'm living my life. And so I'm like, if what I'm doing, people from the outside look at me and they could say, oh, that guy's working hard and all that shit, then it's like, Nah, it would just bug me if I wasn't doing this. You know, same as a guy who spent his whole life playing Xbox. The only difference is that people are like, oh, we don't like that. And it's like, but he could also turn around and say, oh, well, I'm not doing it fucking because it's what I should be doing. It's just like, I'd be mad if I wasn't doing this, right?
Right. But
so 100 years from now,
right,
both lives kind of didn't mean shit. No matter how much people in this time frame around us can look at us and be like, oh, that's hard work. That's not hard work. At the end of the day, it really doesn't mean shit.
I disagree because you don't know whether it's small stuff throughout your day or things you work towards that, you know, that lead to a bigger outcome. You don't know how your life has a ripple effect in other people's lives. You really don't. You might be lucky enough to find out one day, but you don't know, like, say, in this life you dated this person, and in the parallel universe you didn't. If you, let's say in this world you moved to Florida for a little bit, but in the other one you didn't, maybe you don't do another thing in your life and it just kind of ripples down the effect and you have a cascading effect against other people. Maybe you don't have that wrestling match from last Thursday, or maybe you don't, whatever. And it just kind of butterfly effects that way. And like, if our ancestors didn't, well, obviously if they didn't procreate, the next generation doesn't show up. So that obviously has a huge ripple effect. But if our ancestors weren't strong enough to survive and they die and they can't procreate, then none of us exist. Right?
Why is that bad?
It's not a bad, it's a good thing. Oh no, it's a good thing that we exist.
I think humans are selfish as shit, and we think the Earth is like revolved around us, and we just happen to be on Earth.
I think,
which is why all this shit doesn't fucking matter. We're one animal on an Earth full of fucking animals.
Right, but we're a highly evolved animal, and we are the animal that has the biggest direct effect on the Earth. The universe does not revolve around us, obviously. I think we're a small, like, shard of color on this like giant kaleidoscope that is the universe, right? For sure. But when you scale all that down, because again, if you spend too much time thinking about all of that, then you get into the mindset, well, none of this really matters. And it's like, well, how does that affect the rest of your life? And clearly it hasn't affected your life in a negative way, but for another person it might. Like, you find those people that are like, they take a lot of psychedelics or whatever, and then they, according to them, they expand their mind so much that they're like, man, none of this really matters. We're all just a blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, buddy, well, rent's due in 2 weeks, so unless you want to be homeless, figure it out. You know what I mean? Yep. There are real world responsibilities. And then you could also get into the argument of like, should we even be in a system or a society where we are paying rent and we are paying for food and we are blah, 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 and you have all that, the hippie shit, which, I mean, I think there's an argument for that, but the reality of life is that, well, it's the 26th. Rent is due in 5 days. Yeah. So thank God I have it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I just, at the end of it, I think it is better to find a way to basically take your human potential and aim it at something. I think that is a better served life than, because we are creatures of habit, right? That's how humans operate. We tend to drive to work the same way. We tend to drive back the same way. We tend to wake up, go to sleep at the same time, whatever. Not necessarily a bad thing. But I think that your life is better served finding the thing you're passionate about and working towards it. Even if it doesn't make you money. Just, we are supposed to be active, creative, social creatures. Like, that's what we're built to do. That's why something like, that's why solitary confinement is the worst punishment to give somebody. Yeah, like, dude. That's worse than death. Just sitting in a cell forever.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can do with a human, because there's no outside contact. Guards ain't talking to you. If you're in a place where the walls are super thick, you can't hear the guy next to you. If they even allow you to get mail, you might get some letters. You get an hour of sunlight a day. We're not meant to live like that.
No.
And that's why the worst of the worst people get that. Because you get, even if you're on your way to the death penalty, you're put in solitary confinement on death row, and you're just isolated from society. You've been deemed so evil by your community that you deserve literally, well, not literally nothing, but you deserve the closest thing to nothing that we could figure out while living inside some kind of like civil law structure. It's like, okay, we've all agreed that you get something resembling a bed, you get something resembling a toilet, a shower, so infectious, and that's just so infectious disease doesn't spread to everybody else.
Yeah.
That's not for that person. That's just so we don't have the old boy shitting in a corner for a week straight, and then bacteria and all that flies everywhere. So we decided you get that so you can maintain the environment you're still in, and then you get enough food to maintain the body until you finally get killed by the state. You know what I mean? So that's stripping away human potential. You've now been cast off as you've done such horrible things in your life that you deserve to have your human potential taken away. So then for everyone else that's in the position to use human potential, I think it's incumbent upon you to do so. I'm not saying you can't play video games or whatever the things are to relax a little bit, but if you're spending fucking all your spare time just that's a waste of potential, man.
Yeah. I mean, only if it affects you, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean,
I don't know. I like that's why I like doing the podcast. It's like I like meeting people that are doing cool shit with their lives.
yeah. I feel that.
And you're doing cool shit, dude.
Thank you.
Fucking flying off.
I feel like I'm not doing shit.
You're doing, dude. You get to fucking pro wrestle and like fly off of ropes and smack people and entertain an audience, and then you get to go out to Vegas for a week and do power slap and get paid for it. You get paid to do it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now you should be paid for it. I just want to put that out there. You should get paid for getting hit in the damn face, because doing that for free would be nuts. But
which I have. Have you seen those fucking? That's my new comedy.
I saw the video.
What do you call the last part of your set?
Okay, but getting some dumb half drunk lady to hit you.
Some dumb bitch.
That's way different than having a grown trained man that looks like the Mountain come over and smack you in the mouth.
Yeah.
So how did I meant to ask you this about 30 minutes ago? How did Power Slap even come to you? Like, how did that opportunity show up?
So when I started wrestling, one of the big things you can do as a rookie wrestler is to go to seminars. And so one seminar that I had, funny story, do you remember Mr. Kennedy?
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah,
fucking, my first match was technically in Denver, Colorado at a Mr. Kennedy seminar. For him, he fucking was like, all right, all you guys are gonna wrestle for me. I was a rookie, I'd never had a match before, and he that's like who I wrestled for first. But anyways, I had another seminar with Sim Bodie in Amarillo, Texas. So when I went to go do that, the class was very small. I was a very big guy in that class, and so he remembered me from there. Like I had followed him on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, and he just remembered me. And then so now, fast forward like 2 years, I'm like doing my shit in wrestling, and I've gotten like a little bit of a name for myself and stuff. At least enough of the name that I'm a heel and I like to talk shit, and I'm
they
good
know
at
you
doing
as a
Yes.
personality.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So I see Sin post on Facebook like, oh, do you got what it takes to be a power slapper and like all this shit. And so to me, I immediately thought of it as one of those like giant class action lawsuits where it's like you submit the fucking information, forget about it 5 minutes later, you're never going to hear about this shit again. And then eventually he did hit me back, and he was like, hey, we just looked over your profile, and like we thought you, out of the hundreds of people that fucking have submitted, and like we just thought you had a lot of personality, and that you would like bring that you fit. You're a big dude, like hopefully you could take a hit. Looks like you can give a hit. You're like, so then they got me into the combine. I fly out to Vegas.
Combine for Power Slap, just the concept of that's hilarious to me.
Right?
It's just a bunch of fucking slapping each other.
So he hits me back, and he's like, all right, we chose you. We're going to get you into the combine. They fly me out to Las Vegas, and they had us meet our coaches. They had us measure the power of our neck by like putting a machine right here and then having us lean our neck against it, see how much we could resist. They had a cube that you would smack it and it would tell you how much human force was behind your smack. I had the hardest human force behind my smack out of anyone by far. I think second place was only 56,000 human force. Mine first place was 72,000 human force. Like, I was a landslide away from everybody else. So, literally on the flight back home, I fucking get off of the plane, go home, and I get a text, hey, we want you, Power Slap 13. I'm like, fucking for sure, I'll be there. And so I was really worried because, first of all, you could totally get knocked out. Like that's the one thing that everyone thinks of. That's the big like, oh shit, hesitant point, right? But then it occurred to me that like the guy they had me fighting, I saw him at the combine and I saw his slap, and he was a guy who was 400 pounds and then slimmed down to like 235.
Jeez.
And now he's a personal trainer, right? So in my mind, I was like, shit, this guy has discipline. So he's a personal trainer, he's strong, and I know he has discipline, so I know he's fucking home training on this slap shit. Like, I was really worried for that first time. And then I'm not going to say I faked the confidence, but I definitely had to pull the confidence out of myself to be able to fucking do this shit.
I don't think anybody would blame you if you said you faked the confidence.
Hey.
Fuck that.
But, yeah, no, so then I showed up, and I just remember after that first fucking slap, the confidence level goes through the roof.
Because you felt it.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I'm not getting knocked out. I knew that right away. That after the first slap, I was like, okay, I'm not getting knocked out. I know that. But it hurts. It fucking hurts. It does hurt. And so, the second smack, the first one, he fouled me, so he kind of hit me high. So it really didn't do shit to me in terms of like scrambling my eggs or anything. He kind of just made it sting on my forehead.
So before you continue, before UFC matches, they put like Vaseline on parts of their body to help, like not cushion the blow, but to help it kind of slip a little bit.
Yep.
And then, to help it like slip a little bit. Pretty much, that's why they put the Vaseline on. Are they putting any Vaseline on your head? Okay.
No.
And then my second question is: so, I remember watching your power slap when it first happened. But who smacked first?
Me.
Okay. How did it feel to full on smack another grown man like that? What did that feel like?
I was obviously like a cocky fucking kid at the time, but I fucking had...
Dude, this was 2 months ago.
I know. Well, I've learned so much about slap in 2 months.
Yeah.
There's so much to it. It's ridiculous how much there is to slap. Plus, it's so new that the veterans even are learning new shit,
Right.
But it's really not just fucking slapping somebody.
So they square you guys up, and you go to hit him.
So, yeah, the first thing going through my head is like, no way in fuck is this guy gonna stay up, right? That's what I'm thinking. And so I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I was able to hit somebody full force in the fucking face with no repercussions. Like, everything was fine. And so I figured, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking cock back, hope it lands in the right fucking spot, but I'm just gonna swing for the fucking fences. And I did. And the second I connected with the guy, he didn't go down.
And you hit him. This is a dumb question, but I feel like it has to be asked anyway. You hit him as hard as you could.
Yes. The thing is, I was a rookie that only had 2 weeks with a professional coach, John Dotson, bare knuckle fighting championship of the world.
Yeah, I've heard the name. Yeah.
I only had him for 2 weeks. So the way I was slapping in my first fight was you could totally consider that a fucking rookie slap. Like, it was not as strong as it could have been. I didn't have any form or anything like that. I was just a big confident dude going in there smacking somebody like off the streets.
So much. I was going to ask about your form. So obviously you want to torque back as much as you can. Are you your closed hand or not? Like, it's not going like this, but like, Are your fingers together?
They can be.
What's better for you, to open, close together?
So if you're like in the smaller weight divisions where you are two small guys, you want to close your fingers, right? But then me personally, that was another thing. I had the biggest hand in my combine too, fucking like 9.5. I don't know if it was centimeters or inches across or something like that.
Probably inches.
Inches. This is a natural hand position for me. And that's what you're allowed to have. You can't spread your hands open, but you can have a natural hand position like this.
Interesting. So you can't deliberately like
spread your fingers
do
open.
that.
No, you can't do that. So for me, that's an advantage because my hand covers so much of your face when it's in a natural hand position that I can't miss. I can swing as hard as I fucking can. And if my goal is to hit right here, if I have a natural hand position, I'm going to hit your fucking face no matter what. So,
God, dude.
But the issue that I had with Ryan in my first fight is I had a straight arm on him, right? So I got hurt because every time I smacked him, it shot down to my fucking elbow.
Right.
And that's why I didn't knock him out. And that's why after that first slap, I was like, oh, shit. Like, he didn't go down. And it was because I wasn't hitting him right.
And I was saying, I'd imagine you want the little. It's like why there's the splits in the concrete, so that if there's a crack, it just stops at the
It's
split.
the suspension to your car.
Right. Yeah. So you want it like that, so it could take and drive more force.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, you can clearly see in the videos that when I hit him, the force stopped on his face and went straight down to my elbow. Compared to now, my shit's here and there is no stopping. Like, my hand goes through your face. There's no stopping.
Just gonna look you up really quick. I want to see that first hit.
Yeah, no problem.
Against Ryan Kenny, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But you can tell I was slapping way fucking harder than him by the chalk clouds.
Okay. Damn, dude, your video's got 150,000 views.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
On Facebook, it's like 500,000.
Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, so there you are, ready to... Okay. And then there's him. Damn. Yeah, good on you for keeping that fucking stare down against this Viking, dude. Okay, so you guys... Oh my goodness, come on.
And I was fully expecting that if I...
Okay, so... You're lining up with his face. He's staring you down like a fucking Viking. You're cocking up. I see the straight arm you're talking about. It's a solid hit.
So when you look in slow motion right here, you're going to see my hand hit his face. You're going to see the force shoot down to my elbow. And then you're going to see my shoulders do this. Right?
Interesting. Okay.
Because all the force stopped. So I brought my hand to his face, and then all the force stopped, and it went all the way back to my shoulders. Right? So now, with a bent arm, it's going to go through your fucking face, no bent shoulders.
You kind of saw it there.
Yeah. It looks like I'm doing this.
Right.
And then as soon as I hit, you just see the fucking tight everything. Boom, boom, boom. See that?
Right.
It goes backwards to my elbow.
Right. But if you would have kept it bent a little bit, you wouldn't be able to have that follow through.
I would have had suspension to my car, and it would have bumped through his face instead of driving my hand backwards to my elbow.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's why this guy's fucked, dude. This guy has never had a fight, never had a combine. Fucking
who's this?
The guy I'm about to fight, Ricky South.
Yeah.
He has no experience whatsoever, and they fucking decided to give him me for some reason. So I'm like, this guy's gonna be the first victim of like the real fucking slap that I'm probably gonna be having for the rest of my time.
I want to find this guy really quick.
You can't. He's so fucking hard. Or I mean, like you can't.
I saw a picture. So he's on the
Instagram. If you look up Ricky South,
he's just on that.
Yeah. There's no videos of him slapping. There's no videos of him in a combine. Like he doesn't show him practicing. There's absolutely nothing. He's fucked. Power
Slap 15 on October 3rd. Well, this will be out after that, but Jesus Christ. Okay, so you hit the guy, they break you up, you go to your individual sides. What did that feel like after you've hit him? They're like, all right, now my time's coming. How does that feel?
That was the first time that I was like scared, legitimately, throughout this whole fucking thing. I was so, and I deserve it too, because I was such a like, haha, fuck you, I get the first hit, like I'm gonna knock him out. I was so confident about it, and then now I was just kind of like, oh shit. No. I'm like, all right, just think of every time in your life you've ever got hit hard. You never got knocked out, did you? No, you didn't, you motherfucker. Like, you can do this. You can do this. Just fucking bite down. And I will say, getting hit that first time, he was high, right? So it stung really bad. And it made like a little bump come on my fucking head, but it really didn't do anything to me. So then I go and I slap him again. He doesn't go down. He goes and he slaps me. His second slap on me was his first hard slap on me, right? And so I didn't even realize this until afterwards, and I watched the video. But when he slaps me, my body tightens up and like jerks forward, and I didn't even know I was fucking doing that. And the first thing I could think of was just like, make it seem like you're okay. Yeah, so that's what I would do. I would just stare him down in his fucking eyes.
You kept it together.
Yeah, and trust me, that was hard to do. Like, I knew for a fact that when this came out on video, it was gonna look good because I didn't react. But in my head, I was definitely like, oh, like as if you stubbed your toe against a fucking door or something like that. It was like, oh, that fucking hurt, dude.
So that was a foul because it was too high. It looks like he connected with like your ear and your temple.
Yeah, see how when his hand's on my face, you can see my beard?
Yeah.
That shouldn't be. When he smacks me, it should be on my beard. That's like literally the outline of where you're allowed to hit.
Right. Okay. So then, they're doing like the coaching thing. They're bringing him back to the table, or the podium rather. They're chalking you up. And I'd imagine you have the earplugs to help your equilibrium, right?
The earplugs is just so that we don't bust the eardrum.
Right, yeah. Eardrum, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. You guys are squaring up.
Tell him right on two. This one, I actually rocked him to where he wobbles. I wobbled him right here.
Let's see something real quick. I want to make sure that it's like at half speed, actually. Okay, so watching this at half speed, good hit. He felt that.
Yeah.
You can tell because that first one, he was like, what, bitch? What do you want? The second hit, he's like, all right.
He crinkles his eye up.
Yeah.
And then he tells me like, okay, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And even the announcers are like, I think Johnny Magna just smacked the nice into him. Like, he became a lot more friendly after that second one.
Yeah.
He's actually a really good dude, too.
Oh.
See, look, if you look, this is why having a natural hand position is so good.
Yeah.
Because when I cover his face, my thumb reaches all the way to his eye. And the tip of my fucking long fingers reaches all the way to the back of his fucking neck. So I'm covering the whole side of his head. You can see the red on his neck and on his fucking eye.
Okay, and then all right, come on. Okay.
This is this his third slap or his second? His
third.
Yeah, this is my first hard hit that I took, right? So my body crunched up and my memory was gone. From the second he fucking hit me, my memory was gone. I didn't remember what to say, what to do, or anything like that.
You buckle a little bit.
So all I did was look up at him. It took about 2 seconds, and then you could see me reach in for the fist bump, and that's when I get my memory back, is when I reach in for the fist bump.
So you kind of lost a little cognitive whatever there. A little bit of your bearings. Like, you didn't knock out, obviously. You didn't, like, see anything or see nothing.
Yeah.
But you kind of, like, you got hit reset a little bit.
Yeah. So to me, in real time, it felt like, boom, whatever. But then I go back and I watch the video and I can see that it was like, boom. And then I fucking took my step back and then I came to and was like, all right, good hit. I didn't feel any of that. I didn't remember any of that, you know? And then my coach is in the fucking side. When I go back to him, he's telling him, yeah, you know, so you want to do this, this, and this, and that. It's all going in one ear, out the other. Fucking, I have my headphones in, my head's ringing like a motherfucker.
Oh,
I can't hear, I can't understand what he's saying because I can hear the words, but I can't form the sentence in my head. Everything's going so fucking rushed, you know? The greatest feeling in the world, dude. It really is. I don't know how to explain it.
So then you guys ended up slapping each other 4 times each, right?
3 times each.
3 times each, but it was a draw at the end.
Yeah.
Why was it a draw?
Because he fouled. He fouled his first. So it's on a 30-point must system, just like MMA fighting, right? So the first round would have been 29-28 or something like that. But since he fouled, they took a point away. So it was 27-28. And then so just by the end of round 3, when they added up all the points, he was short by 1 because they took it away. So we had the same amount of points. Otherwise, he would have had 1 more point than me and won the fight. But he fouled. But also, a thing that made me not win that fight was, like I said, I was so cocky and so confident that I was going to knock him out. I didn't plan for a judge's decision, you know? So if you look at the 3rd time when I got smacked, that was the worst time I got smacked. Like that was...
Let's look at the footage.
That was when my body seized up the most. I took a lot of steps back, and it took a longer time for my memory to come back that time, right? And so what I didn't train to do was when I get smacked to make it look like I was okay to the judges, right?
Okay, so this is your last hit.
Yeah.
I see the bend in the arm again that you need. Good fucking hit, dude.
By that time, I thought I'd broken my hand too. So that it hurt to slap him that last time.
I was going to say, like, because you're just hitting up, like, obviously not all of your finger. Well, they will maybe if you get to the back of the head, but like maybe not, maybe like your bottom 2 fingers, but like the base of your hand and then into your palm is just hitting bone.
Yeah.
And yes, humans are fragile, but you're still hitting bone. What is the risk of breaking your hand, fracturing the
Very
hand?
common.
It's high, right?
Super common, yeah.
Okay.
But I went back to the locker room and I went to go pick up my duffel bag, and I fucking didn't, my adrenaline was so up I didn't realize at the time. So it didn't hurt, but I went to go close my hand to go pick it up and I couldn't. And I like realized that something was wrong. So I had to go back to the fucking medical tent and be like, hey, something's wrong with my hand and my fucking elbow. Like I can't pick up my bags and stuff. Which, funny enough, did you see Chelsea get her nose broke?
No.
You didn't see Chelsea get her fucking nose broken?
Maybe. I don't know him by name. I got to be honest with you. I don't know him by name.
It's one of the most viral clips that's going around in Power Slap right now. But it's literally fucking Chelsea getting her nose broke. And I thought I had hurt my hand after the fight, and I was in medical, so I was there when she got taken back there.
Oh, shit.
It's pretty funny.
All right, so you get smacked, you buckle.
Yep, he backs me up. And I literally put my hand up as a way to show the judges that I'm okay, but really I'm not okay.
You could see it in your face.
Look at this. Look at this. And when I go back to shake his hand, I can't walk straight. I'm stumbling.
Yeah.
My steps are real like choppy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I can't
You're
even.
like heightening your knees a little bit to like, damn, dude. Seriously, like I said with pro wrestling, man, you are a fucking trooper. You are never going to see me do that. Ever. There needs to be millions on the line. Millions. Like, that's insane to me. Holy moly. So, you go back to the medical tent. They're checking out your slapping arm in your hand. What happened?
So pretty much what they did was they were like, can you move it? I'm like, yeah. They're like, is it so uncomfortable that you need to go to the hospital? I'm like, no. And then they're like, all right, well then as of right now, we're scheduling appointments for everything you told us about right now. So it was like I had got my tooth knocked out. My hand got fucked up, and then my elbow was fucked up from like the force.
Still missing that tooth?
Yeah. I can't have it replaced because then I'd have to go on dental suspension.
That's the thumbnail. So no shit. So you'd have obviously you have to get a fake tooth implanted, and that'd probably knock you out for what, 6 months?
No. So fortunately for me, the reason why it got knocked out was because it was still a fucking baby tooth. So it was like weaker than all my other teeth.
So wait, does there like not an adult tooth up there? Or
there is.
It's just not descending.
All they have to do is put a little fucking string on it and pull it down into place. But if they did that, then I can't compete in power slap for a couple months because I'd be on.
Right.
So I was just like, dude, fuck the tooth. Put me back to fight again. I don't give a shit.
We'll get to it later.
Exactly.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, after October, there's not going to be another power slap till like December or some shit like that. So that would be the time to fix it.
How long was the suspension for?
I'm not sure. The doctor didn't tell me because he didn't have to do it. I was like, fuck that.
So they literally just have to bring it down.
Just pull it down. But shit. Yeah, from the medical tent, they said you said something about your hand, your elbow, and your tooth. So we're gonna have appointments for all those by the time you get home.
I would have milked the shit. I'm like, yeah, my head fucking hurts. My eyes not working. I would have fucking gotten all that medical expenses taken care of.
You don't. So that sounds like a smart idea, right? But the thing about it is, if you end up having too many injuries, they won't bring you back.
Right, that's fair. You know, the military's the same way. Yeah, I get that. Okay, dude, you're a fucking trooper for what you're doing to yourself. You're doing it to yourself. It's not like you're getting conscripted into this shit.
No, it's fun. This is fun for me.
I'm not gonna ask you. I'm not gonna ask you dollars or anything like that. But
it's public knowledge.
Were you happy with what you walked away with, money wise?
Yeah, but there was a situation that happened behind that.
Okay,
and so
you don't have to get into it.
No, it's not even that big of a fucking deal.
Okay,
but pretty much what happened was, everyone knows this is like beginning pay, so everyone knows this.
You're not getting a lot.
If you show up, it's $5,000. Right?
Nice.
If you win, it's another $5,000. And then from what I understand, if you knock the guy out, it's another $5,000. And then if you knock him out in a way that's performance of the night, it's like another $10,000 or something like that.
So in theory, you could walk away with
like $35,000.
Yeah, because you're getting up to 15 already with a knockout, and then 10 on top of that, 25,000.
25,000, yeah.
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 See, that power slap's already fucking with your head, bro.
I'm stupid anyways.
So anyway, all right. So you're saying,
but so it's 5,000 to show, 10,000 total if you win, right?
Okay.
So being that we had a draw, technically we both lost. So they gave us both. We were supposed to get losers pay, which is $5,000 each, right? We get back to the medical tent, which is where they give you your money too, right? And so the guy comes up to me and he goes, "Look, man, you guys must have really fucking put on a show out there or something like that, because they're giving you guys the winner pay, both of you guys. Like, you're both getting $10,000. So he hands me 2 checks for 5 Gs, and I have both of them in my hand. And I'm like, fuck yes, dude. And apparently he walked up and told my opponent the same thing. Hey, I don't know why they did this, but here's your pay and all this type of shit. And so we signed off on it even, right? So it was ours. It belonged to us now. This fucking asshole, the guy who gave us the checks, decided to be a great guy and fucking walk up to the person in charge and goes, "Hey, it's super cool how you gave those guys like winners pay, you know?" And they just go, she goes, "What? They got what? No. Hunt those guys down and take that other fucking $5,000 check back." So literally my opponent was back at the hotel. They sent somebody to the hotel, and then I was still in medical tent. They sent somebody back to the medical tent and fucking took that other $5,000 away. And I was so pissed. We were so mad.
The way that I would have immediately cashed that in my mobile checking account.
Still would have had to pay it back.
And just rent. Oh, yeah. They could have also just canceled the check too.
So what we were saying, what me and Ryan were saying were, hey, ideally one of us should have had to win this match, right? So you guys would have just had to been short $5,000 more, fucking split the shit. And
yeah.
Nope. You guys get what you get. Oh. That's one thing about Power Slap is they definitely give you a lot of opportunity, but they don't fuck around about their money, it seems like.
Well, you can't build a business and be loose with your money.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So I get why it happened, but that sucks.
It sucks.
Whew. All right, man. We got to wrap this up.
All right.
This has been fucking cool. You are an interesting character, man.
Thank you.
You are, and I mean that in the most generous and positive way possible. You are an interesting guy. That is insane that you fucking do all this shit. Oh my God. I'd love to do this again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a lot of fun. We didn't get to talk about stand-up, or your side of stand-up anyway. So, where can everyone find you, support you on social media?
It's mostly going to be Facebook and Instagram, some TikTok as well, but it's going to be Johnny Magna or the Johnny Magna on all of those.
Sweet. And then I'll have all of your social media stuff at the bottom in the description of this video. Your next Power Slap event is on the 3rd.
October 3rd.
So a week from today,
Yep.
you will be smacking and getting smacked.
Yep, I fly out Sunday.
Best of luck, buddy.
Thank you very much.
That's incredible that that they're allowing you to come back and do it again. I feel bad for that other guy. I mean, I kind of feel bad for you too, if I'm being honest.
I know, I was going to say, we're going to look like such douchebags if I lose. I get knocked the fuck out, I'm going viral, and we're sitting here like, this fucking asshole has no clue what's about to happen to him.
You're like, a knockout's a knockout. That doesn't matter all that much. You're like,
I'm like halfway retarded now. I stand by what I said. Like, it still doesn't matter.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. Best luck out there. Let me know what happens with all that shit, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool shit, dude. Very fun to talk to. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.